If you've ever cleared your calendar for Fed Day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. And indeed, it is Fed Day here. It's Wednesday, December 10th. We get the much anticipated or thought rate cut here today. And really the question is going to be, what is the conversation like? Is Powell hawkish? Is he dovish? Is he a lame duck now because everyone knows he's leaving? What does that mean for future rate cuts? That's all going to be the important stuff here today. That doesn't happen till 2 Eastern here today. So we've got a morning of trading that we're going to have to get through first here with the big event coming midday. We're going to do that. We're going to break down some news. We're going to have Tim Melvin come on, and we're going to get you all set for those movers here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday edition for December 10th, 2025. Begins right now. Good morning and welcome everybody to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It is Fed Day, hump day. It is the middle of the week, one day closer to the holidays. All of that good stuff. We're going to get you ready here with everything that you need to know to be able to trade the session here today prior to the Fed, and then we will see how the Fed actually causes the market to trade after that. Should be an interesting day here today. EKS is first here today, and EKS coming in hot, dropping in a Ryan Dietrich style stat here. When the Fed cuts interest rates within 2% of stock market all-time highs, as we have right now, the S&P 500 has gone on to finish higher over the next 12 months, 20 out of 20 times. And for those of you that aren't math whizzes, that is a 100% hit rate. So I'll tell you what, the stats are sure pretty good. They bode pretty well here. Also, one other thing in here with the time frame about the next 12 months. It doesn't say that the market can't sell off in those 12 months. It's just that it finishes higher. And my thought here for 2026 is that we will see a sell-off at some point. And I think that sell-off will be viable. And EKS, this stat kind of lends itself to that. Good morning, and thank you for joining us here today. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Hopefully you are well. Brian says, Chewy says, F the beat every damn time. We'll take a look at Chewy here. Brian, you and me, I know we both like this company because we love our animals and our, and I guess, family. So I'm with you on that. We'll take a look here at Chewy. Double beat. They traded down. My initial question here is Chewy a buy the dip today, Bri? I'd love to get your thoughts on that and anyone else that might have thoughts on Chewy, ticker CHWY. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. Good to see you again. Brian goes on to say, if I didn't use the service religiously, along with every other dog owner I know, I wouldn't deal with this. I feel you, man. It is a tough one. I'll tell you what, Chewy's one of those stocks that I'd love to just be able to hold and just feel good about the whole animal angle of it. But I've had better results trading in and out of it. And yeah, I missed some runs, but I hit others, and I miss a lot of the big drawdowns that the stock has had. So I completely understand that thought process. I'm with you in that. And like I said, for me, trading in and out of it has really what's working for me. Yeah, so fine. Good morning. Welcome back. Kayla, good morning. Welcome back. Jane, good morning. It's good to see you as always. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, good morning. I bought a little more Starwood to add to my long-term portfolio. Going to do some light trading today, if any, until the Fed report chaos is over with. I think that's real smart. I also added to Starwood recently, by the way, when that dipped into the low and mid 17s. We're actually expecting the announcement of the dividend here pretty soon. That is my favorite dividend stock, and that's one of those stocks where I might just end up holding that one forever, I suspect. But good stuff there, Rooster. Good to have you here. Kevin, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Graph, good morning. Welcome back. Positive Trader. Absolutely love that name. Good morning. Welcome back. Reaching Financial Freedom. Good morning. Durkus and Big Bear Hug. Good morning. Neville. Good morning. It's great to see you again. It is a great day. You're absolutely right about that, Neville. Let's go. Big Dave, good morning. Good to see you as always. Jeff, good morning from Naperville. Yes, we got another Illinoisan in the house here. Jeff, are you as surprised as I am that we woke up and it's near 40 degrees after being like in the single digits and the teens recently? Looks like we're getting a little bit of a reprieve before the deep freeze this weekend. Good to have you here. Hopefully all is well. H&H Tactical, good morning. Good to see you again. Hoot, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. Matthew, good morning. And Ashan, good morning. Cam, good morning. Permis Sean, good morning. Let's peek at biotech. We've had some small stock runners from data and trial releases. Good morning. We have been peeking at biotech every day. You're absolutely right. And again, another shout out to one of our community members, Kathy, who seems to be all over all of these. That didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. We'll definitely be taking a look at some of them. I actually think that one of the stocks or several of the stocks on the movers list today are biotech. I think STOK was one of the stocks that's moving. So don't worry about that. We'll definitely be taking a look at all of those. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Whisk, good morning. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Big Hurt, good morning. James, good morning. JJ, good morning. Tenzin, good morning. Maybe an exciting day. We'll see. I'm hoping for that. Fingers crossed. But market doesn't care about hopes and dreams. That's for sure. Dara, good morning. Welcome back. Lion Atlas, it's good as always to see you. Harris, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Billy, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Brandy, Peter, and Sunkissed Yogi, good morning. Tyler and Billy, welcome back. Brandy says Chewy should be worth a ton with as much as I spend on them. Brandy, facts. I'm with you on that. I count several of us in the chat alone, which is part of the reason we constantly take a look at that. I'm with you on that. Day Trader says I get 10% back in Bitcoin at PetSmart for every purchase. Huh. Interesting. Well, I can understand that. Chewy still does great work for the actual animals. Archangel, good morning. Welcome back. Angelito, good morning. Welcome back. Creation, good morning. Who am I missing here? I think that's Omerica, good morning. And I think that's it. All right. And Brandy is calling BS. PetSmart has no such Bitcoin back program. I'll let you two argue about that. In any case, welcome everybody. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started with the stock market today. All right, futures under pressure ahead of the open here on Wednesday prior to the Fed. S&P futures down 0.07%, although they're down very close to unchanged. Dow futures down by 0.08% and NASDAQ down by 0.18%. So all slightly in the red, but all very, very close to unchanged. Chances are all of this is going to change after the market reacts to the Fed decision. Let's go ahead and take a look at some cues from last session. Energy, information technology, and consumer staples stocks recorded the biggest gains on Tuesday, while healthcare and industrials bucked the trend and closed lower. The Federal Reserve Open Market Committee's two-day meeting ends today with investors eyeing a rate cut decision and Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech in the afternoon. Again, the thought here is that we're going to get a cut. I believe that's near 100% here. Really, it is going to come down to his speech and then the question and answer section. That's likely where we're going to see the most volatility today. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.2% and the 2-year bond was at 3.62%. Now, we do have several stocks in focus here, and the first one is the meme daddy, I guess we'll call it. That's, of course, GameStop, ticker GME. It dropped 6.38% in the pre-market on Wednesday after posting third quarter revenue of $821 million. That missed analyst estimates of $987.28 million. And it also posted a 24% per share earnings per share, which beat the analyst estimates of 20 cents. GE Verona, I do this every time. GE Vernova, beg your pardon, ticker GEV, that jumped 7.72% after it doubled its dividend and raised its multi-year outlook. As part of its 2025 investor update event, GE Vernova announced a series of updates, including strong guidance looking all the way out into 2028. Adobe, ticker ADBE, is the next stock on our list here today. That was 0.02% lower ahead of its earnings scheduled to be released after the closing bell. Analysts expect $5.39 per share on revenue of $6.11 billion for the last quarter. Oracle's the next stock on our list. That's ticker ORCL. That rose 1.07% as analysts expect earnings of $1.64 per share on revenue of $16.22 billion. Both of those reports, Oracle and Adobe, coming after the closing bell here today. The last stock on our list here is Braze. That's ticker BRZE. Shares climbed 15.37% after posting better than expected revenue for the third quarter and raising its 2026 fiscal guidance. All right, let's go back to Pro. Let's take a look at the SPY and let's get the table set for today. Here's the look at our chart. Now, we've recently talked about the bounce off of the 100-day, the move sideways, and the hold. If you glance at the daily chart here today, especially with the indices slightly under pressure ahead of the open, the shape of the daily chart, the shape the candles are making on the daily chart, I should say, sure looks like it wants to roll over and perhaps backtest the trend line that we just spent time getting over. We've already backtested it once, so we'll see if we actually move down enough to backtest it. The interesting note there is that we have a lot of these things lined up in the exact same area. So if I'm using my cursor here to eyeball the trend line, I've got that at about 675, somewhere in the 675 handle. We have the 20-day moving average at 674.96. That might as well be 675. And we have the 50-day moving average at 673.65. So the reality here is in the mid 670 handle, whether it's 673 to 675, there should be some pretty ample support if the market does, in fact, become a little bit shaky and move down after the Fed minute or after the meeting concludes or during Powell's presser. The direction that it goes here, likely not going to be chosen until we actually get that. And one other thing to keep in mind, this was a discussion that we've been reminding people on Happy Hour quite a bit, is that a lot of the times the first reaction, not the one that holds. So if the market trades down here today, is that a buy the dip opportunity? And maybe we get a rally here tomorrow. Conversely, if the market trades up after that print, do we end up getting a sell-off the following day? We'll see what the chart looks like. I'm really curious to see how the SPY closes here today. I'm definitely looking to short-term trade right around the decision. And I'd be curious if any of you folks have trade plans for this. I'd like to know ahead of time what it is that you're looking for and what it is that you're trying to capture when we actually do get the conclusion of that meeting here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts. BlackRock maintains a decidedly pro-risk stance, remaining overweight U.S. stocks on the AI theme, end quote. They view the massive artificial intelligence build-out as the primary driver for equities, arguing that micro is macro because their sheer scale of the investment could reshape the broader economy. While acknowledging concerns about a potential bubble, BlackRock rejects this as a practical lens for investing, focusing instead on whether corporate revenues can justify the capital expenditure. They believe a growth breakout is possible, stating that AI's self-reinforcing innovation loop could break the U.S. out of its 2% growth trend established over the last 150 years. Economically, they see a favorable backdrop with continued Federal Reserve easing. Recent inflation data has reinforced our view that the Federal Reserve is on track to cut interest rates, supporting their optimism. However, they note that the divergence between immediate spending and future revenues creates a financing bump, making greater private sector leverage inevitable. All right, let's take a look at a couple of stocks here. I want to start with NVIDIA because we talked yesterday about the news about the H200 chips being allowed in China. That actually caused NVIDIA to pop. Here's what NVIDIA's daily chart looks like. We continue to trend above the 100-day, and today it sure looks like the 50-day is going to be back in frame for another test. Remember, on Monday, we did test this moving average. We traded right up to it. We could not close above it. And then yesterday, we stayed beneath it, but didn't break down. Actually, it almost looks like an inside day yesterday. Today, with NVIDIA, we're up about 0.3 here prior to the open. Again, all of these big cap stocks are going to be affected by the Federal Reserve decision today, so we'll see how it all shakes out. But looking at the chart here, it sure does look like a 50-day moving average test could be in the cards, and shortly or just above that, I should say, easy for me to say, about 193 is a trend line that we have originating from the September low. If we recapture that, that almost puts us back in an uptrend, it seems. Now, we do have some more news here. NVIDIA's smart chips could soon tell on their smugglers. Interesting stuff here. NVIDIA has developed new software that can help determine where its chips are being used, aimed to curb the smuggling of its artificial intelligence processors into countries where exports are restricted. The company designed the tool to let customers monitor chip health and performance while estimating location by measuring communication delays with NVIDIA servers. Pretty clever method there. NVIDIA has privately demonstrated the feature, but has not released it yet. Reuters reported that today. An NVIDIA spokesperson told Benzinga in an emailed statement, quote, "We're in the process of implementing a new software service that empowers data center operators to monitor the health and inventory of their entire AI GPU fleet. This customer-installed software agent leverages GPU telemetry to monitor fleet health, integrity, and inventory. Customers would install it as an optional software tool that uses built-in secure computing features inside its GPUs to track system activity and location signals. The company plans to roll out the technology first on its newest Blackwell chips, which include stronger security features, and is exploring ways to support older Hopper and Ampere chips." The U.S. Justice Department arrested 2 Chinese nationals for allegedly smuggling NVIDIA's H100 and H200 chips into China via intermediaries, fake buyers, and more. Authorities allege that the operation has run since at least November of 2023. The arrests come as U.S. officials continue tightening enforcement against illegal chip exports, even as some NVIDIA models receive limited approval for sale to certain Chinese customers. Beijing is reportedly moving to limit access to NVIDIA's H200 AI chips, requiring Chinese buyers to obtain approval despite President Trump's approving exports to China. The restrictions are part of China's push to curb reliance on foreign chips and boost domestic AI chip production, aiming to triple output by 2026. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Next here, another story here about Google. One of the reasons I want to bring this up, I guess we'll start with the Google chart here again. Let's pull up. I just out of habit use GOOG. Google's been on a massive run recently. This has been a great trade for a lot of folks here in our community, and it's wonderful to see. It does look like we're kind of trading sideways after this recent pop higher. Now, we haven't given it back. What's next here? We'll see. Would really love for this to stay above 300, and better still if it can stay above the trend line in the 20-day. Your 20 days at 306.07 there. Now, let's take a look at what's going on here with Google. It faces an EU antitrust probe on YouTube rules, AI model training, and the latest crackdown. Now, the European Commission has initiated an antitrust investigation into Google over its use of content from publishers and creators to train its artificial intelligence AI models. The European Union is examining whether Google is breaching competition rules by enforcing unfair conditions on online publishers and content creators who share videos on YouTube. The investigation will also assess whether Google's business practices are disadvantaging rival AI model developers. The EU's competition chief, pardon me while I chuckle at that, Teresa Ribera, emphasized the need to balance AI innovation with societal principles. The investigation is a clear indication of the EU's commitment to safeguarding online press and content creators, she added. "I'm from the government, and I am here to help you." In an emailed statement, a Google spokesperson said the complaint could hinder innovation in an increasingly competitive market. The spokesperson added Europeans should have access to the most advanced technologies and emphasized that Google will keep collaborating with the news and creative sectors as they move into the AI era. This move is the latest in a series of actions by the EU to enforce digital regulations despite pushback from U.S. tech companies and the Trump administration. This investigation is part of the EU's ongoing efforts to regulate activities of major tech companies. Just last month, Google withdrew its antitrust complaint against Microsoft in the EU a week after regulators launched a probe into Microsoft's cloud business. In September, the European Commission fined Google about $3.46 billion for antitrust violations, ruling that the company unfairly favored its own ad tech services over rivals. Regulators said Google's self-preferencing harmed competition across the online advertising supply chain and ordered the company to end the practice and resolve related conflicts of interest. Meanwhile, earlier this month, the EU launched an investigation against Meta, ticker META, over its introduction of Meta AI Assistant within WhatsApp. This investigation will be carried out under the EU's traditional antitrust framework, unlike several ongoing inquiries into the Digital Markets Act, otherwise known as the DMA. Additionally, the EU recently slapped €120 million or $140 million fine on Elon Musk's social media company X for breaching the bloc's online content rules, marking the first sanction under Digital Services Act, which was adopted in 2022. X is still the most popular news service in Europe. Musk warned the world, Musk warned that he would retaliate against the top officials responsible for the penalty, though he did not specify what form that response would take or whom it would directly target. During a roundtable meeting in the White House on Monday, President Trump called the EU's fine on X, quote, a nasty one, end quote, and stated Europe is going in some bad directions. So we'll see how this all shakes out here. This, even if we don't live there, I know we have some folks from across the pond here, but even if you don't live there and you still trade some of these U.S. big cap tech stocks, I think it probably behooves you to stay on top of what's going on in Europe, because there's a huge part of their revenue comes from outside of the U.S. All right. Dara here says, I'm from the EU and I usually love the EU, but they are slightly corrupt here and they are lashing out because Elon didn't take their bribe. Petty business. I don't know. I'm definitely interested, especially in the folks that, you know, live there and deal with this every day. I'm definitely interested in that. I don't know yet how I would actually apply this information to a trade. Like just kind of thinking about the Google example here, I think Google is still going to kill it. I think they're a great buy, especially on weakness, and better still if it can actually hold any type of support level on said weakness. So I'm definitely interested in all of the different opinions on there. I haven't made a trade off of any of this information. I still kind of trade off of, do I think the company is good? What do I know about the company? And in the case of AI here, are they making advancements in AI? Are they at the front of the race? Are they at the back of the pack, et cetera? So appreciate all of the insight from various points of view, if you will. Next stock that I want to, how are we doing on time here? We got a couple of minutes before we get to Tim. Next stock that I want to talk about is Marvell. This is one that we've been looking at quite a bit here recently. This was a really good identification of an AI stock that really hadn't moved yet. Now we did move up towards 100. We talked a lot about this $100 round level. It lost it, but it is finding some support down here near the 50 and the 20 day. 20 days at 87.90. The 50 days at 88.09. It does look like it's finding some support here. We also have a pretty substantial gap above here. Looks like it starts at about 92 and fills at about 98.5. And then beyond that, we have the round $100 number. So I definitely understand that if Marvell is going to turn around here, this actually makes for a pretty good upside trade, at least by looking at the chart. If we can close that gap, if we can maybe test and move to the highs or the recent highs here, this would actually be a pretty profitable short-term trade going into the end of the year here. So chart is conducive to a potential trade, but let's see what's going on here. Marvell rolls out Golden Cable to speed up the AI infrastructure build out, has launched its Golden Cable Initiative, a program aimed at accelerating active electric cable development as hyperscalers expand AI infrastructure. The effort provides validated designs, advanced firmware, and engineering support to help partners bring high-performance AECs to market faster. The initiative targets growing demands for short-reach copper connections as AI workloads push rack densities and bandwidth needs higher. Marvell said its open architecture allows partners to scale production and customize features while ensuring interoperability across leading platforms. Quote, as AI infrastructure scales at an unprecedented pace, the need for open, high-performance AEC interconnect solutions has never been more crucial. End quote. That came from Ji Wang, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Marvell's Connectivity Business Unit. Partners including Foxconn Interconnect Technology and Luxshare's technology say the program shortens design cycles and accelerates adoption of 1.6T connectivity. Analyst firm 650 Group forecasts an AEC market will rise from $644 million in 2025 to $1.4 billion by 2029, more than a double, driven by rapid AI cluster growth. Marvell shares have fallen 20% year to date and came under renewed pressure Monday after Benchmark downgraded the stock from buy to hold. Again, the question here is, does that actually represent a buying opportunity or is something changing here at Marvell? The firm said the company likely lost Amazon's Trainium 3 and Trainium 4 chips designs to AI chip, citing increased competitive pressures. Benchmark expects slower growth as Amazon shifts technology development to other partners, though ongoing Trainium 2 shipments should support near-term results. Despite concerns surrounding Amazon's next-generation chip program, Marvell said its major customer engagements with both Amazon and Microsoft remain on track for significant ramps beginning in 2026. And this is kind of what we've talked about quite a bit here. It doesn't look like the AI theme in all of its various tentacles are going to slow down in 2026. We're getting confirmation of that here. JP Morgan analyst Harlan Sur reiterated an overweight rating, pointing to the company's broader AI chip pipeline. Management said it continues efforts to secure Trainium 3 orders at Amazon Web Services and expects Microsoft's Maya AI chip program to scale in late 2026. Marvell also projects that new AI chip wins will drive long-term growth, including a path towards $2 billion in annual XPU attach revenue by 2028. Marvell shares were up 1.35% during the pre-market trading on Wednesday. We'll see if that continues. And as I just outlined there on the chart, we do have some mile markers, if you will, for a potential upside trade if it continues. All right. How much time do we have? You know what? It's close enough. We're just going to go ahead and say hi to Tim Melvin. Let me get Pro back here real quick. We'll go to the chart. Let's bring on Tim, see how he's doing here today. Tim, good morning. How you doing, boss? Good to see you.
No, it's Wednesday. It's going to be all the way up to almost 50 here in Greensboro for a hot second today. So we're pretty excited about that as we've had this very unusual cold snap for the South. We had snow the other day, Ryan.
Whoa. Let me ask you, are you in one of those towns where it just shuts down because they have no idea what to do?
No, it wasn't too bad because it really didn't stick on the roads. Now, if it stuck on the roads, I'm pretty sure it would have. And, you know, if you want to see Dante's 11th circle of hell, go to Atlanta when the snow sticks. Oh, my.
Yeah. So the only reason I asked that is because I'm born and raised in the Chicagoland area. When I went down to Bloomington for college, man, oh man, it's a different world down there. First of all, Bloomington's in like a little bit of a bowl, so it has this odd weather. It doesn't see a lot of snow, and the campus is built predominantly of limestone, so they can't use salt because it deteriorates the limestone and would ruin a lot of the buildings there. So they use sand. So in the rare occasions where Bloomington gets a bunch of snow, the people in the town have no idea how to handle it. The entire town basically shuts down, and the roads are not really all that drivable because they've decided to use sand instead of salt. So just figured I'd check in.
My absolute favorite, being from the Mid-Atlantic in Maryland, was, of course, we get snowstorms, and they would empty out the grocery stores of milk and toilet paper. So I'm trying to figure out if, people really poop more in a snowstorm or what the deal is, because I would immediately go. I was thinking of writing a book with exactly that title on it, Ryan. But
Now that would have been something.
I would immediately go to the bookstore or the liquor store to make sure I had all the proper bases covered in case we had a snowstorm that lasted for a few days. I don't understand the psychology. But anyway, thank you for setting me up on the European Union story this morning. You just kind of just fed in to what I was going to lead off with today, so I appreciate that. And I'm not going to
just to be clear here, I have no idea. You're kind of like a loose cannon here. I have no idea what it is that you're going to say. So when we pick these news stories, I try to stay as topical as possible to what the group is expecting, and it's fantastic to hear that some of these selections are actually setting you up. That's what I like.
Now, as you know, I'm as untopical as possible because we focus, 1000% on numbers and valuations. And although my political and philosophical side loves the news, and I'll debate politics and economics and discuss it, I love that stuff, right? It doesn't make me any money. So when it comes time to go to work, we take all that lovely stuff and just tend to set it over here and focus on the numbers. But we're going to just kind of focus in here and hang on, let me get the proper paper up here because I want to use my notes. I don't want to make any mistakes. And we're going to talk about, Ryan, we're going to talk about this morning some of the outlooks for next year that have been published. Most of these are garbage in marketing, and I throw them right in the garbage can. And if they came from a brokerage firm, they absolutely go there because they're probably short whatever they're trying to sell me and long whatever they want me to sell. So I don't pay a lot of attention to those. But GMO, Grantham, Mayo, and Otto, they get a lot of flack because Grantham often seems to be a perma-bear. In fact, he's not, and I'll share some data with you on that kind of backs that up here as we go along. But they are usually extremely skeptical of rallies, and they buy into the Tim Melvin philosophy of buy on weakness, sell into strength. So they came out with their kind of, this is what we're looking at next year. And I'll skip you the long part of this because there's always a long part of this. They're really not all that interested in the United States and AI stocks, but Europe, where let's put the cards on the table, whether it comes to technology, social media, especially energy, immigration policies, there's not a lot that EU has done right over the last 5 to 10 years. Right. They have been woefully slow in adopting some of the things that would have fixed and repaired their economy. Now, when something's that bad and government's that stupid, but not communist, well, then I have to start to get really interested in that particular company. And, although we are absolutely in a bubble here, and Grantham goes through the worst bubbles, and he says this looks the most like, and I agree with this statement, the most like 2000, because when you look at the metrics, the sentiment that is around AI stocks, they feel a lot like early 2000 on internet stocks when earnings didn't matter, only eyeballs and clicks, and it was going to change the world. So all the companies were great, and everybody was changing their name to AI and seeing their valuations, to .com and seeing their valuations triple overnight. So it's definitely an AI bubble in the U.S. that has definitely pushed valuations here in the United States to crazy levels. So what GMO says, look, we're agnostic. We don't really care where we go where the numbers take us. So right now, Ryan, if we got fired up, here's what they're saying. The most attractive assets are global deep value stocks with a heavy emphasis on Europe and Japan. So if we have fired up, let's take a look.
You want me to scan, or do you want to look at the chart?
Let's go to the scanner and take a look.
Perfect, let's do it.
We all know what the chart looks like. It doesn't look great.
Looks like a bunch of up and down.
Up and down. Yeah, price is fluctuating wildly. So let's scratch out the common stocks and ETFs. We don't need those for this exercise.
Okie dokie.
Let's go to the value rankings.
Perfect.
So let's put all 4 rankings on the screen.
Okay, I got news for you, Tim. First of all, we released a new version of Pro yesterday, and we made some quality of life improvements to the scanner here.
You
And
put
there are
my picture on every page?
no, not quite. I said improvement. Okay, I said improvement, not regression. Just kidding. But one of the things that it made it easier here, especially if you're playing around with the rankings, like for example, I've added all of the rankings here. If I now filter for trends, it doesn't remove the
Very
filters
good.
that we have. So we don't have to clear the deck and say, what did I put on? Nope, it just remembers. This is the way it should have worked from the beginning. So we're able to get that fixed. Now I digress here just because I'm happy with the recent release. What do we got for these rankings?
Let's go for 90 on the value ranking.
Got it.
Okay. Now we're going to get a list of stocks up. These are going to be foreign stocks, obviously ADRs. Now, just going down that, you can see there's Toyota, there's Honda, there's MT, which I believe is steel. So you're seeing a lot of Petrobras, a lot of Korean companies. By the way, I just wrote an article for South Korea that will be out next week, where we're getting quite bullish on South Korea because there's some cool stuff. They're a couple years behind what Japan did on corporate governance resolutions, but that unlocked a lot of value. It continues to unlock a lot of value in Japan, and we think it's going to continue to do that. So now we've got this list of stocks that are cheap, right? Global stocks that are traded here in the U.S. as ADRs. This is the top 10% of undervalued stocks, the most undervalued. All right. So now let's have some fun. Let's go and see. Let's just click on growth and see which ones are the growthiest.
Okay. So we're going to sort this with the highest growth rating here at the top.
Okay. So what do we got? Okay. So that's
Lux
Chinese
Experience,
right?
AT Renew, JFin.
Yeah, that's Japanese, I believe. So you've got some Chinese and some Japanese.
And then Toyota.
And Toyota. So these are undervalued stocks that are growing. Now let's get out there, Ryan. Let's go for short-term momentum. Yes.
Okay, so short-term, we're going to add the trends here. Yes. Oh, no. Or did you want me to do a momentum ranking? I'm sorry.
No, let's go with the trend. Yes, okay. I'm sorry. Should have said that.
That's okay. We're going to go ahead and add the trends there. We're going to do short-term trend intact. So yes. What about medium and long? No?
We're just going to deal with the short term. Okay.
Okay.
These are all stocks that are cheap. They're showing good growth and they're in an uptrend. Wow. That sounds like I want to own that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sure does, actually.
I've got the technicals. I've got the valuation and I've got the earnings growth, right? So now all of a sudden I'm really interested in this. And I'm being very agnostic here. All right.
Look at this chart. Look at this chart, possible 10 breakout. Sorry, Tim, you got me all excited here.
Yes. I am not one of the believers that China and the United States are going to sing Kumbaya and dance off into the bright and everlasting future. I've never felt that way. I think China is very much our opposition. Fact of the matter is China needs our cash. They need our money. So we're going to continue to have Chinese stocks listed in the United States for some time. So we went ahead and left the Chinese stocks in the screen, as you saw. But there's some real opportunities here because Japan is much cheaper than the United States. So is Europe. Now, KKR pointed this out, that you have to be kind of selective in Europe. Right? If it's got too much government regulation that's in an anti-state, like we're seeing in technology, U.S. technology companies, you probably don't want to be too interested in that. But your basic infrastructure, real estate, banks, retail, all extremely cheap in Europe and Japan and worth owning at this point in time. Look, I know the U.S. is the nicest house on the block. They truly are. They're also the most expensive house by an enormous margin. And by the way, they take up 70% of the block. All right. So eventually, there's going to be a shift and capital is going to shift. We saw some of this back in April when the tariffs were first announced. And you saw a lot of the European, particularly the Swiss and a couple others saying, okay, expletive, delete yourself. What we're going to do is we're going to take our money out of the U.S. markets and rotate it back home. And we saw a burst of that in Europe, and that ain't the last time. Okay. Europe, has made a lot of mistakes, but I think slowly but surely they're learning by their mistakes. Somebody in the chat said Europe's a big ship, takes a long time to turn around. Not only is it a big ship, it's got about 20 captains, right? But if you now look at Portugal, Spain, and some of the southern parts of Europe, they're starting to really be on fire. Okay, so the economies are starting to do what the US was doing a few years ago. So there's a lot of good stuff happening underneath the headlines in Europe. So, and look, when Germany turned off their nukes and France started talking about it, and we saw some of the things going on a few years ago, I said, these guys are going to be burning cow patties by the time this is over in a cold winter, because this is a massive mistake. Um, and it turned out to be exactly right. I mean, Bayer said, "Hey, look, we're leaving." And, Bayer, there is no more German company than Bayer. They moved a lot of their manufacturing because of electricity prices. So when you saw that happening, well, this ain't going on forever and ever and ever. So we're really bullish on deep value in Europe and in Japan. So now, Rank, are you capable? And I can't forget if we've gotten this one into Pro yet. Can Pro show us the holdings of an ETF yet?
If I program it in, yes. So unless you're talking about Q, SPY, Dow, IWM, or XLK, no. But what I would like from you, Tim, is I would like for you to give me some of these ETFs that you think this is important on, because this is a project I can do on my own.
This is a really cool idea. But today I want to talk about one. Now, those of you that are willing to adapt a total owner mindset, because everything I'm about to give you, with one exception, is illiquid. Going to be hard to trade, right? It's going to be more like buying a business than trading a stock, right? It's going to take you a little while to buy it. It's going to take you a little while to sell it, but they're cheap, and the future's really bright. So the one that's liquid is the parent ETF. And this is Horizon Kinetics. This is Murray Stahl and his crew. They are brilliant. If you're not reading their quarterly letter at Horizon Kinetics website, you're missing out. These guys are sharp. They were way early on the inflation trend. They've started buying Texas-specific land, back, many hundreds of dollars. They have well over a 10-bagger in the stock. So brilliant team operating this. They're very bullish on Japan, which makes them smart because they agree with me. We're using that standard these days.
That's right. Wildly,
yes. So Horizon Kinetics, Japan owner operator. Now, we all know the
Horizon doesn't have a ticker, does it?
Horizon does have a ticker. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to deal with JAPN.
Okay.
Horizon Kinetics, Japan owner operator. Okay. Now, these are small Japanese companies that are owner operated. Owner operating companies tend to be smaller. Okay. Now, I went through and I only had time to run a few of these quickly this morning, but like Furano Electric, Japanese Elevator, Pan Pacific International, all of these trade as ADRs in the US, but they've got the five-letter ticker symbols, right? And they're not among the more liquid five-letter crowd. They trade in the hundreds of shares a day, but they're really good businesses where the people that started them still control them and operate them. Generally speaking, that's really bullish. But let's back up. We're sitting at the very early days of a M&A wave in Japan because of the corporate governance changes that they made. Right? They said no more cross ownership, no more of this Yankee go home, no more of not caring about your price. You've got to get your book value up, your stock price above book value, or we're going to delist you on the major exchanges. They started allowing activism campaigns, and there's been a much more friendly attitude towards normal corporate M&A where you buy the whole company. This was a big no-no, by the way, in Japan for like literally hundreds of years. You just didn't do that. You bought each other's shares, but you didn't buy each other. So now you've got owner operators who are by definition getting older every day. You've got a more favorable M&A atmosphere. And for the first time ever, activists, particularly from the US, are starting to score a certain amount of success. This thing has sold off because of Japanese headlines, and Japanese small caps have been out of favor. Compared to the iShares Japan ETF, you'll see large caps have done well, small caps have been ignored. I think this falls into almost the category of a must-own long-term ETF. And those of you willing to look for a much bigger pop, that are willing to go through the holders list of this thing, which will be on the Horizon Kinetics website, and just kind of
you know how many stocks it is by chance, ballpark?
I know I can probably do better than ballpark. Let's see. They only have 32 holdings, period, in the portfolio. Okay. So, it's a concentrated portfolio, but I think that if you're willing to buy them and hold them the way I hold, illiquid stocks and small banks and that sort of thing, until something good happens, I think you're going to be amply rewarded. The other thing to keep in mind, much like Europe, Japan has a much more dividend-friendly atmosphere. The old world likes dividends much more than they like buybacks.
I can understand that.
Yeah, me too. And I love dividends much more than buybacks, because the dividend is my money and I can do something stupid with it if I choose to.
They can't take it back. I think, isn't that one of your famous quotes?
And they cannot take it back, and they can't use it. Cash that they give me, they cannot take and buy back stock at 80 times earnings to hide their stock and non-stock compensation, non-cash compensation awards. Okay. So, anyway, listen, Japan, we're bullish. I think this is a great way to play it. And then we need a ticker for Horizon Kinetics, which did actually come out the other day. Ryan, I'm going to have to get back to you on that because it's not.
That's okay. That's okay. In fact, Tim, this is what I would say. If you think there are any tickers that we would benefit from, any ETFs that we would benefit from being able to browse the holdings, email me a list and I'll get to work.
I'll get back to you on that. So anyway, there's stuff to do. It's just probably not in the U.S. I think we talked about Swire Properties on the show one morning in Hong Kong. Maybe we didn't. But Swire Properties is a conglomerate in Hong Kong. And I'm just going to pull up this. This is one of the 5-letter symbols that actually trades here in the United States. So what we want to look at is Swire Properties owns this bunch of, stop it, machine. There we go. Bunch of apartments and office buildings, mainly office buildings around Hong Kong, a little bit in China. They
is this SPIR, Spire Global?
No, we're looking at Swire Pacific.
Okay.
Okay, in Hong Kong, and this is SWRAY is the parent company of Swire Properties. Now, here's what's interesting: they own 80% of Swire Properties, which is trading. The Swire Properties itself is trading at a very low multiple of book. Swire Pacific, the parent company, owns 80% and is also trading at a very low multiple to book value, and they're trading at 80% of the value of the stake in Swire Properties. So that's already a bargain right there. Okay. You're getting Swire Properties at a discount, and it's already discounted itself. However, they also own 45% of Cathay Airlines, the big Chinese airline, and most of the Coca-Cola bottlers in Southeast Asia. So you're getting all of that for free, the airline and the that you get a 5% dividend yield. And yeah, this is one of those ones Hong Kong's unpopular. Buy it, sit on it, tuck it away. It should deliver very, very nicely over the long run.
Okay.
So then the other one that I want to talk about, and let me just make sure I get to it here. There it is. Did anybody read the Trump administration's security platform paper that came out?
When did that one come out?
Came out last week.
No. Do you have that?
I do have that. Of course I have that. Don't be silly.
Yeah. Email that. Email that.
Yeah, I will.
Me. Or if you have a link, we can just drop it in the chat right now for anyone else that wants to actually read it.
Okay, hang on a sec here. I will.
Of course I have it. I shouldn't have even asked you. I should have just said send it.
Anyway, yes. I'm searching for a link while we're talking, but this is the best, or one of the best, security strategy. There we go. Guide maps for a long-term investor that I've laid eyes on a while, because it tells you where they're going to spend the money. Okay, link's coming to you right now, Ryan. Copy Ryan, I'm just replying to your email where you sent me this morning's link.
Perfect.
Here it is. Now, look, it's no secret. Trump has totally changed the context of national security, and he laid out his thesis, or his people did, and it's a complete and total change. They point out, where the U.S. policy has failed, and Ryan, you'll be surprised to know that as I go through this, even though I don't really think a lot of Donald Trump as an individual or as a president, and don't shoot me, I don't like any presidents. But I don't, I don't like a lot of the policies. I don't find anything to disagree with in this document at all.
Okay.
Right. It makes
Here's for anyone that's interested in the actual document itself. That PDF link is in the chat. Tim, appreciate you sending this one over. I haven't read this yet, but I will do this here today.
No, you absolutely. They lay out the complete agenda for U.S. strengths, domestic agenda, refocusing national interest, peace through strength, predisposition to non-interventionism. Let's hope they stay with that one.
Yeah, no kidding.
Primacy of nations. They do step back and say, look, global giants, the United States, China, Europe, the history of them dominating their region is back to the time immemorial. We need to stop fighting that. And I agree with that. I mean, there's not a lot we can do about China influencing their region, and for us to continue to, it's just going to start a war.
Yeah.
So strategic priorities are the end of mass migration, protection of core rights and liberties, burden sharing and burden shifting, realignment, economic security. Now, when they talk about their security interests, and I'm trying to get down to that page, just the economics of this, it's the investment opportunities are really obvious, right? Defense technology, we're behind in drones. Yep. We need to catch up. Yep. Same with military robotics. So anybody involved in that, probably going to see strong growth. You get a bad market, that's got to be top of your buy list, right? There's going to be massive capital expenditures. You put together what's in this document together with what's in the big, beautiful bill, and you look out, and this is, Brian, this is one of the legs for my case for we shouldn't be cutting rates. There's a hell of a lot of job creation in these two documents. And it starts next year. If we do get reindustrialization on a large scale, that creates a lot of jobs. It creates a lot of construction jobs. Then you've got AI. You've got the need to rehome robotics. We don't make any robots here. How about that? We make very few drones here. So, all that stuff's got to come home, and it's going to create tons and tons of high-paying jobs. So when you look at the sector winners, AI-driven manufacturing technology, defense suppliers, heavy engineering. Remember, we've talked about Faloona on here. Yep. Railroads, ports, energy infrastructure. Okay, guys, look, quit whining about K1s and get out there and buy the MLPs. It just, when you look at these things and the cash that they're throwing off, and the fact that no matter what happens to oil prices, we're still going to be pumping lots of oil, and it's particularly natural gas, for decades, not years, not months, decades, maybe even let's try forever on for size. I'm pulling ET up here because Energy Transfer is just, that's a core midstream asset. It's one of the best run, that along with Plains All American. You're getting an 8% dividend. You're buying it at a bargain basement price based on cash flow. Yep, you're going to get a K1. If you get a K1 and your stock triples, do you really care that much?
I don't really care if my stock triples. I'm feeling pretty good, Tim. Yeah. That's just kind of a universal thing.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that you have to watch, right, is you can't buy these in an IRA. That's going to get you in all kinds of trouble. Right. But energy infrastructure and security was a huge, huge part of the security platform that the administration released. So now I'm just going to throw two tickers out. These are the non-K1 holders out there for you guys who just absolutely insist you can't stand it. All right. There's Antero Midstream, which is EM. I'm just kind of going down here.
EM?
AM, I'm sorry.
AM.
Kinder Morgan. KNTK, Antioch, OKE, and Plains All American General Partners, not the LP, the not the All American Pipeline LP. You want the GP Holdings. That's PAGP. That also files on a 10. It's 1099, not a K1. So there's a few that don't own that are not K1s. Or you can buy the Kane Anderson Energy Infrastructure Fund, which is currently trading at about a 12% discount to NAV with approximately an 8% dividend, and they own all of them. And there is a magic, Ryan, to um, closed-end funds and MLPs for that matter. When you buy all of your um, MLPs inside of a closed-end fund, it's automatically converted to 1099 income. You may still have some return of capital, which is actually a plus unless you intend to sell it tomorrow, but it's still going to be reported on a 1099, not a K1. So you can also buy it through, and Kane Anderson is the most attractively priced at this moment in time. But energy and energy infrastructure is a huge part of the security documents. And I could ramble on about this one for quite some time because there's a lot of information and opportunities in the document. But one of the largest, as I said, is energy dominance as an economic strategy. And the only way to get that, you're talking LNG, the job formation in Texas, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, the Rockies, and then in the pipelines to the major ports is just unbelievable. It's an incredible amount of job creation. Once we get the uncertainty of tariffs and trade, which have businesses sitting on their hands. And that's not my opinion. That's kind of the facts of every report that's come out, including the most recent Beige Book. Business people are telling you this is what they're doing. Once that comes out and business feels comfortable starting to take advantage of the tax features of the Big Beautiful Act, which kick in January, right? And they allow you to expense CapEx. We could see a CapEx boom of epic proportions with a lot of it directed towards energy. So the energy construction and engineering companies, and again, Fluor comes out as a major winner in this, as does Jacobs Engineering and some others. So, I mean, guys, forget your politics. I don't care what they are. Read this as an economic blueprint, and you'll see it spells out some really clear opportunities. No matter what happens to the president and the party's popularity, they may lose the midterm, so they may be voted out of office in a couple years. I don't know. Nobody knows. We all have our hopes and our dreams. We don't know. They're still here for 3 more years, and they're going to spend a ton of money. And increasingly, the Supreme Court is ruling in favor of the unitary executive. So the president's going to be able to direct a lot of that spending personally. So these areas are going to see a lot of spending. And these areas need to see a lot of spending. It's smart. So read it as an economic blueprint, and you'll find some ways to make money.
Okay, this is something 13's been talking about for a long time. He says here, we are seeing massive expansion in all corners of Texas. Texas Gulf Link is going to be huge for the states and for the United States.
Yeah, I mean, this is a second order AI play that is so obvious. And you hear people talking about it, but nobody's doing anything about it, right? Retail's way behind on this trade. And you can structure this. Look, we've done it in yield report. We're like 50% credit mortgages and 50% natural gas exploration, production, and midstream assets that pay high dividends, right? So that's a real inexpensive newsletter, guys. So sign up today. But energy infrastructure is just going to be massive, and the engineering of the new construction. Apollo today. This is the big story today. Throw everything else out. Apollo got together. Apollo being the big private equity firm. Real serious value and credit bent. These guys may be the best in the industry now that the folks at KKR are getting a little older. They hooked up with Capital Power Corp, power producer out of Edmonton, Canada. They're each going to commit $3 billion or so each, and they're going to buy, natural gas power plants for data centers. So they're going to go in. They're going to be looking to buy older natural gas plants that are close to areas where they can build a data center or sell the power to a data center. Increasingly, this is going to be the model because on the PJM, the East Coast electric grid, they can't hook up any more data centers without raising rates. Now, raising rates, just so y'all are clear, it's not popular with consumers. Okay, which means politicians have to pay attention to it. So increasingly, you're going to see companies that want data centers build the center around the Marcellus Shale and build or buy a power plant to feed their asset directly. So we're going to see a ton of this. Get in front of it, and get in front of it now with the engineering companies, with the infrastructure assets in the energy industry, and there's just going to be a ton of money made.
Okay. All right, Tim, awesome stuff as per usual. Look forward to the next time that we have you on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a bunch more this morning. I probably could have. I overloaded. I probably could have gone on for another hour. So there's a lot.
Tim, overloading? No, that's impossible.
It does sound like it would be, doesn't it? But hey, guys, listen. Thanks, everybody. Great. Now next week, remember, I'm traveling. And it's granddaughter week, so I won't be here Wednesday, but I can make it Thursday or Friday if you can slot me in anywhere there in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, actually, let me take a look at the schedule. Tim, I'll follow up with you on email. I think we probably can do that there on. Well, we can on Thursday because we got Apex. Let me think about that. Let me think about that and get back to you. Maybe let me think about it. Let me work through that.
I'm not cold enough, Ryan. I got to drive a little further north by 5 or 6 hours just to see if I can get colder.
Okay. Well, you shouldn't have any trouble. Make sure you visit the state with snow. You should be fine.
Well, let's hope not. But anyway, all right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and see you next week.
All right. Well, not next week. Well, we'll see what day next week.
Hopefully next week. If not next week,
we'll check in with you before Christmas.
We'll
that's
get to
for sure.
Don't worry about it. We'll see you.
All right, Tim. Take care of yourself. Enjoy your Fed day. I know you're pulling the cork on the bottle of wine there to do some active trading.
Yeah,
so
I could care less.
Tim Melvin, everybody. Take care, Tim. We'll see you next time. All right. Tim's departure makes me laugh every time I talk to him. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is or what day it is. It makes me laugh every single time. Tim's departure leaves room for 13. We'll bring him on and see how he's doing. 13, how are you doing?
Doing fine. Doing great. How's everybody this morning? Real quick, keep an eye on Beat. It's looking like it's trying to make a move. But aside from that, doing great.
Okay. Beat, this is actually one of our movers, so I think that's where we're going to start. And really quickly, this is Heartbeam. We had talked about mover, I believe, Heartcore, HTCR, not long ago. Different stock. This is entirely different. I am almost wondering if that's good. That's probably in penny territory, though. So, okay. You want to just go ahead and dive right into the movers?
Yeah, let's dive right in.
All right, let's do it. Let me find my movers workspace here, and we will go ahead and get started. Let's just start with Beat. I know it's third in the list, but we're already kind of looking at it, so let's just start there. Heartbeam shares are trading higher after the company announced it received FDA clearance for its 12-lead electrocardiogram synthesis software for the assessment of arrhythmias. This sounds great here. Stock is up by 68%. This was in penny territory yesterday. Here we are button up against what looks like 150. Yeah, in fact, 150 should be the next resistance area. If we can get above that, stock closed at about 80 cents yesterday. If we take a look at the short interest here, 3.97% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, comes on an average 100-day volume, 2.19 million. We've done just shy of 100 million here today. And the float, 29.5 million. So 13, what do you think here levels wise for Heartbeam?
Well, this company had some great news. It's medical device company. You know how I feel about those. Those are doing really well right now, and wonder if we're going to maybe see some more products out of this company that have AI enabled electrocardiograms. Anyway, this company, as you said, got a 510K FDA clearance. It has 29 million shares in the float. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they have a very good cash position. They need some more money. They burn through, at this rate, a little more than 5 million a quarter. They have only $1 million and change on the, I'm sorry, hold on. They have 1.8 million on their balance sheet right now. they're going to have to do a capital raise at some point. That could come as early as today. Don't know if we'll see that or not, but they are going to have to make do some kind of capital raise soon. As far as the levels go, we are holding above VWAP. I like this pattern that we're trading into. It's a bit of a bull pennant here. I just want to see if we're going to break through that 150 area you mentioned. I think maybe 145 to 150. That's kind of the range I'd be looking at for the breakout area. And it looks like, as I was mentioning here when I first came on, it looks like it's setting up to make a move. So we'll see if we end up getting that. I just wanted to point that out there because if we do end up getting that breakout move over 145, 150, certainly going to see that a new session high there.
Okay, good stuff there on beat. There was a quick mention here. I'm just going to take a very brief moment just so you guys are up to speed here. Meta is moving around here right ahead of the open. Does look like we got some news here. Business Insider is mentioning that Meta is planning price hikes for its virtual reality devices. This is per an internal memo. Anyone that wants this, I'll go ahead and throw the link in the chat here for you. But this is why Meta is getting jiggy right here ahead of the open. It is down about 0.5%, but you can see it's been kind of back and forth on that report. Okay, sorry to digress there. Next stock on the list here is going to be ASPC. It is another SPAC attack here. Stock was just about the SPAC $10 price. We traded up towards 40. We backed off of that. We are beneath VWAP here, holding at about $29. Now, I'm not sure what this one does. Yeah, and I don't have any information on what it does here. I would have to look. Maybe you took a look and see what this one merged with. And sorry, not to put you on the spot here. Quick look at the short interest on this, 0.04% of the float shorted. It does say 4.5 days to cover, but that's because it trades 14,000 shares. That's not going to come into play today. It's already traded 1.2 million just about. Float on this one, 4.7 million. So you have any levels for this 13 outside the obvious $40 one?
Okay, yeah. So the $40 is going to be a big one. It's still having a hard time staying above the VWAP going into the open here. Since we had this, looks like it started moving in the after hours yesterday, and it doesn't stick around above the VWAP very long. It seems like every time we get a big series of impulse moves through the VWAP, about 20, 30 minutes later, it's right back down beneath it, getting support from the 65 EMA. So, and when that oscillation stops happening, then we're either getting a breakout or a breakdown. So far, we're still kind of holding up around the 65 EMA, kind of going on both sides of it, but still not able to recapture the VWAP. It's looking like it's getting the upside is kind of fading here. It's getting weaker and starting to go sideways. So if it does begin to do that, and let me just draw a trend line here for my own amusement. Okay, so what I've done is I've drawn a trend line from the that low from the after hours after that first impulse move, and this drew through every low since every impulse move thereafter, and that's kind of given us a bit of a trend that this has been climbing up. So I would say as soon as this trend line breaks, don't be in this because I think we're going to see some pretty ugly downside. But if this continues to provide support, we want to see a recapture of that VWAP. As far as what this company is merging with, it looks like they've at one point they were trying to merge with Semantics, which was a Latin America data platform, but now it looks like they're trying to get a deal with Bioserica. I don't know what they do.
Okay. Good breakdown nonetheless, though. Did I draw the trend line correct? I feel like I did.
Yes.
Based on so okay. So we'll see if that comes into play here. We'll see how tradable this is. And actually, I didn't check. I know it's still in the pre-market here. Let's take a look here. Yeah, this ASPC looks extremely spread. We'll see if that spread tightens up at all when the market actually opens. Again, I do understand we're in the extended sessions.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I didn't really cover this one a lot because I saw I was like, oh, okay, here's another one getting hit. Low, it's got a low float, so it's easy to push around, and we know everybody knows exactly what these things are. But you look at how much volume's moved in the pre-market here. We're only at 1.17 million. That seems a bit low for for the moves that it's been getting. So lots of illiquidity there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Next is going to be ENVB. This is Enveric Biosciences. This is one we've traded a whole bunch of times before. It's back here today. It looks like this thing popped yesterday on some pretty good volume in the after hours. Settled in a little bit, but actually set some new highs as it traded up towards $16 this morning. We had no fresh news here. So we had news yesterday regarding shares trading higher after the company received notice from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for a patent application covering one of its drug candidates. That is pretty much what powered it yesterday. Nothing new since then. We are now up 100% from yesterday's close. So kind of looks like just a little bit of a delayed reaction here. Now, in the actual movement in the pre-market here, we did pull down from the $16 high print. We've also lost the VWAP in that point, but stop me if you've heard this before, 13. We found support at the 65 EMA, and it does look like we're trying to trade up here and maybe go through that VWAP. Quick peek at the short interest on this name: 7.34% of the float shorted with 1.33 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 123,000 shares, pretty much nothing. Today it's done 15 million. Your float, low float, fits our theme of why it's moving here. I got just over 500,000 shares. What do you think here on ENVB?
I feel like we have traded this before.
Yeah, we definitely have.
I've still got levels from one of the last times we traded, and surprise, surprise, we're we're kind of I think right just above some of those levels, barely. So maybe we could keep an eye on those if this goes down. Although I don't think that'd be a really great idea. There was a little filing they had today regarding the some of their different series notes. I think that I didn't read through the entire thing, but the gist of what I understood from it is that there's somebody that's they're issuing more shares in exchange for getting rid of some of the different series. I think it was like Series C and D. Anyway, not really that important. That was the only thing that I could see that was going on with the company today. They are going to need some capital, though. They only have 1 quarter's worth of cash left. So I do expect, I think that's part of what that filing was today, was try to, manage their debt a little bit better. But at the same time, they're going to have to raise capital as well, because they don't have a whole lot of runway left.
Okay. ENVB, we'll see if we get that capital raise. You'll see if we get some fireworks ahead of the Fed here with the low float name. Now, we already talked about Beat. Just a quick check-in here. That's still
hey, look at that.
Still holding above the VWAP, trading up towards 140, 150.
Yep. So we just need to see a little bit more of this pattern to resolve. And 150, if we get a breakthrough that, that'd be great. But need a little bit more volume in this thing. Fortunately, this has about 100 times the volume of the other one we were just looking at. So
yeah,
lots more attention being paid to this one.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Next on the list here is BBGI. This is Beasley Broadcast Group, and it looks like this is moving recently here. It was about $4.50 yesterday, trading up towards $6. It's actually down off of its highs. I have no fresh news. In fact, the freshest news that I have is all the way back from November 13th. So it looks like this one here just kind of moving on the theme that we have been talking about. Yep. This is low float. So 593,000 shares here in the float. Looks like they're just moving whatever they can that has low float here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name: 8.88% of the float shorted with 8 days to cover. That days to cover is being skewed, if you will, by the average 100-day volume of only 82,000 shares. Today, we've done 1.7 million already. So I would expect that days to cover to not matter here. 13, looking at the chart, do you have any levels or ideas where BBGI may go here today?
Yeah, let me pull the chart up. I was just looking at their financials. I didn't cover this one this morning, but it looks like they've got a decent amount of cash. So I don't think that they're at risk of needing to raise capital. I should have started talking about the movement sooner than later, because here we go. We're starting to put in some new pre-market highs. 723 now, the current high right now. This one looks like it just got going not that long ago. I don't see any I don't see any news like you pointed out, but it doesn't look like this has been, this got started all that long ago. So let's see where we can identify where this goes. We're at 7. Okay, we just lost 7. Let's look at a daily chart and see what we got there. So we're past the 65 and the 200-day EMAs. 7 looks like that was a big resistance area looking at the daily chart. We lost that level back in March, And every time that we've been trying to recapture 7, it's been met with rejection and a downside the following day. So if we open, we start printing up to 7 or above 7, that might be the spot where you're going to either want to take profit or just make sure you have your stop raised, because this stock has shown that once it gets up to 7 following that loss, it tends to get rejected there. Now maybe this is the day. Maybe this is the day where we actually see it hold above 7 and go higher. And if that's the case, then you got a lot of resistance up above 7 in the 760s and the 775 area. Lots of consolidation there from the last time that we had a drop prior to the March one, where the price went sideways. Where the price went sideways and just basically couldn't recapture 10. So that would be okay. Here we are back through 7. So here we are going up to the area I just mentioned. 760 is probably the earliest we'll see some resistance, but I think it really starts to pick up around 775. We'll see what we end up getting there. I mean, I could keep talking as this rises and let you know the next resistance area, but 775 looks like 850 could be next after that, and then I would say 10.
Okay. Let's keep rolling through it here really quickly. I did want to mention this because I started the show talking about Chewy. Unfortunately, didn't do any active trading here as I was managing the show. But if you rewind and you go back there, my question was, Chewy kind of seems like a buy the dip here today. And that's what I'd be wondering for the group. Hopefully some of y'all caught that. It was a 32 handle when we talked about that. Chewy has gone red to green here in the pre-market nicely. We're actually up 6.5% now. Jay here said, Chewy, nice reversal. I thought those earnings were decent. So did I. On the surface there, sure sounded decent. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Chewy, how we all use it, so on and so forth. But nice reversal here. This is unfortunate because I was hoping to play this right at the open, and we got it in the pre-market while I was tied up. So unfortunately, I didn't hit this one. Hopefully, some of the group did. I'm sure we will check in on Chewy here today. All right, let me get back to the actual movers list here. The next one was going to be Nextdoor Holdings. That's ticker NXDR. Stock was $2 yesterday. Looks like it tested near 280 here today. Nextdoor Holdings shares are trading higher after EMJ Capital's Eric Jackson on social media posted that the company is, quote, the most mispriced agentic AI platform of the 2020s, end quote. So Eric Jackson, another stock here that is very, very low price that he likes. Remember, the claim to fame, or the big one that we had traded recently, was Open, ticker OPEN. Looks like NXDR here, Nextdoor Holdings, is one of those. Stocks holding higher here by about 30%. Looking at the short interest on this name, 2.11% of the float shorted with 1.94 days to cover. That comes on an average volume just shy of 2 million shares at 1.92 million. We've done 7 here today. Float entirely different from a lot of the other stocks that we're looking at here today. Someone mentioned that there was low float slop here that we were kind of looking at. I rather enjoyed that description. I thought that was pretty spot on. This one, not part of that. This 229 million shares in the float. It's being promoted. I don't even know if promoted is the right word. And I don't want to say pumped because I want to move away from that. It's being talked about quite a bit by Eric Jackson. He's moved some of these stocks before. Yeah, but see, I wanted to say promoted, but like promoting, that also ties into promotion for this and that. And I don't know any of that. And I don't want to make an assumption there. So I was just trying to dance around that. Promoted, pumped, talking about whatever term it is that you want to use. That's what's going on. That's what's driving NXDR here. 13, any thoughts on the chart?
Well, hold on. You said that this is also the gentleman that was talking up Open Door?
Correct.
Okay. So we probably should be looking at companies that have door in the name, because he goes with Open Door first, then he goes Nextdoor. So what's the next one we want to hit that has door in the name? Because
PVDR, previous door.
Okay, keep an eye on it. I mean, it's kind of weird that he's going after these stocks that have door in the name.
Well, here's the thing. So this clearly has a housing angle to it, right? Yeah. Nextdoor Holding is a platform that connects neighborhoods. The purpose is to cultivate a kinder world where everyone has a neighborhood. Neighborhoods around the world turn into Nextdoor daily to receive trusted information, give and get help, get things done, and build real-world connections with nearby neighbors and businesses. I think this is just kind of on the housing theme there.
I love chat. You're not disappointing whatsoever. This is absolutely great.
DoorDash, we've got Doorbell, we've got Glassdoor.
It's got to be
And
like,
of course, Jamie Dimon has BTC out the door, so we've got the whole thing covered here from top to bottom.
But let's narrow the parameters down. Has to have door on the ticker, but also has to be more of a close to a penny stock. That's got to be like.
Zach is
several dollars.
It's almost nighttime in Europe. That's where Zach's going. Next on will be the back door. Zach.
All right.
Need a broken door in there. And there we go. See, chat, you guys never disappoint. 13, nope, you're right about that. But anyway, what do you got here for levels? Let's get this train back on the track.
Right. So we're using VWAP right now as support. We've been riding VWAP up most of the pre-market here with some trading happening beneath it. But for the most part, we've seen just mostly closes above the VWAP. So as long as we continue this ride up, higher we go. We can even draw a trend line using the highs in the pre-market here to kind of give us a target to shoot for if this indeed is the trend where the price is headed towards. So if we do that, and we're going to get this move off the VWAP, and once the market opens, and we'll watch to see if we can manage to get over 275. I think that's the big level to clear here. And if we do that, then this could go up to, gosh, what is this? About $3. So you're going to make 25 cents there hitting this trend line if everything I just said ends up happening, where we start trading up into the open, we rip up to 3, maybe even go a little bit beyond the trend line, and then who knows? We probably end up coming back in. I don't know how this is going to trade. Maybe because this is being promoted by the same gentleman that did Open Door, we could see it go beyond 3, maybe even a little bit higher. So for that, I'd be looking at some of the daily charts. Okay, so if we take a look to the left here, looks like we've got a lot of sideways price action up until about May of 2022. So looks like if we are going to clear 325 would be another area of resistance. And if we manage to get through that, I like 4 and 485.
Okay, so 3, 325, 4, and 485 are the levels that you have. Okay, great. I love this here. Cam saying next door is like 6% value for neighbors. The rest is drama and people telling you about their random personal lives. And indeed, I believe my mom used this for a little bit. She was like, I just stopped because it was just everyone saying all this terrible stuff, smack talking their neighbors, talking about crime and all of that. Sounds like a bunch of Karens, to be honest. So
once they latch onto an app, that's hard.
Yeah, hate to say it, but that's kind of what it sounds like.
Like barnacles.
Here we go. Jay hitting it. An app for a bunch of busybodies that got nothing else to do. Yeah, I mean, I get it if you don't want to trade it based on what it does, but it was good job covering it here with the news, why it's moving. We've seen Eric Jackson move other stocks, so we might as well know what the catalyst is. Really good breakdown there, NXDR. Okay, BDRX, this was one that was on yesterday. Looks like it's popped back today, just about to where it opened and already faded here. I'll be honest with you, I'm not even going to really look at this one unless this shows some type, but this needs to set up first. It needs to give us something concrete here as opposed to just hopes and dreams. This was kind of a nasty move yesterday. Hope nobody got hurt on this one. It is popping here in the pre-market. Let me see if there was any news on it. I don't think so, but let me just double check and make sure. Yeah. Yep. Nothing here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. 20% of the float shorted with 1.91 days to cover. It comes on an average volume of just under 500,000 shares. Done 8.1 million here today. Float is, again, low float. So it fits the low float slop theme that we have identified here today. That's basically all that's going on. Did you have anything here on BDRX?
Well, not really. I mean, I was just taking a look at their pipeline. It looks like their eRapper platform is the one that's the furthest along, being in phase 3. So if there's going to be a trade here, I don't know if there's one today, but if there is going to be a trade here in the future, keep an eye on what happens with their eRapper platform that's currently being tested for familial adenomatous polyposis, FAP. So
you know what? Good job. I don't even know if it was right, but good job, 13. You did.
I tried. So, yeah, that's the one that's in phase 3 right now. There's some phase 2 and phase 1 other drugs that they're working on. So maybe there's going to be some news out of those. But the ERAP is the furthest one along. So that one's probably going to come with the biggest news, and that might still be months away from having any endpoint results. So.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Was there anything else on the list that you wanted to take a look at? AHT, Ashford Hospitality Trust.
There was, so, I was getting excited, but it's because one of the names that I've been talking about is doing really well this morning, GE Verona.
Yeah, that's GEV. Actually, the CEO was just on CNBC, by the way.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, they've been getting all kinds of upgrades. They had earnings yesterday, and they raised their outlook. They're raised their dividend. They're doing share buybacks. I mean, they've got a massive backlog. So natural gas, nuclear turbines. I'm more on the natural gas side of this, but this is looking great. We got JP Morgan thinking this is worth 1,000 now. So might have to reconsider where I'm going to be taking profit, because I was looking for 700 and we're almost there.
Yeah, it looks like you might get that here in the near term. I don't want to say specifically, but the near term. Sure, this looks like a great chart here. 13. And this is a massive winner here. So congrats on that one.
Oh, it's a forecast?
We'll go ahead and give the registering. What?
I'm sorry, Jay's correcting me here. They said it was a forecast.
GE Verona shares are trading higher after the company raised its full year 28 outlook and raised its dividend. Also, the company expanded its buyback authorization.
Yeah, so I thought this was all for earnings, but no, he's right. There's no earnings report here. It's just a lot of forecasting, a lot of basically everything you would get out of an earnings report without the earnings.
It basically raised its multi-year financial outlook. That's how they summarized it in the title of the press release that came out. That's what's going on. So,
yeah, lots of great information though.
Okay, just a couple more that were on this list here. IRBT, this is one that we were trading recently. That's also part of the robot theme that we've been talking about. I know we talked about Serve recently. We've talked about Rich Tech Robotics, ticker RR recently. Obviously, Tesla, the big daddy of all of them. But this one's moving a little bit here today. Let's see what else we have in here. G-Wave was moving. What?
It's squeezing. It's continuing its squeeze.
iRobot continuing to squeeze. Sorry. And then USAR is on here. Boyle's on here. I don't really think there's anything huge here. USAR, though, U.S. Rare Earth shares trading higher. The company announced it will begin commercial production at its Round Top deposit in late 2028. It says 2028, right? 2 years earlier than previously expected. So moving up their timeline here, stocks popping a little bit. We'll see if this can get back above 20. Personally.
You know what I'd be curious to know, and I don't have time to read through this now, but I wonder if there's like a deregulation angle here that accelerated this, because we're really trying to make that push into freeing ourselves from the refining hold that China has on rare earths. So I think that and we are seeing a lot of deregulation in this state for other projects, but man, this is something I'd be taking a look at here to see if that suspicion is true, because if it is, we're going to be seeing a lot of things happening here in this state, that aside from what's already happening.
Okay. All right. That's pretty much it here for the movers. What's up?
Folks are mentioning Palantir. They had
that's where I was just getting. Man, you're not even letting me go here. Not even letting me flow here. You're just literally cutting me off like a mad driver in traffic. Just unbelievable.
I gotta get to there. I gotta get to my destination.
Palantir, I mean, I do it too. I totally get it. Had to use the shoulder the other day because someone was going 15 miles an hour under the speed limit, but that's neither here nor there. Now, Palantir here, this is what the chart looks like. So we closed at about 181 yesterday. We're currently printing up near 185 here. The news, I believe, that you were referring to here is this Navy news. U.S. Navy partners with Palantir to modernize shipbuilding supply chain and accelerate shipbuilding. I believe there was a dollar amount tied to this. I was looking at this earlier here, and I'm pretty sure it was like, I think it was like 400 million. Let's see what we have in here. Right here, authorizes up to 448 million to accelerate the adoption of artificial intelligence and autonomous technologies across the industrial base. Now, the one thing that I will say is definitely good news. There's no question about that. But ZV Din Trace saying this is huge news. I would push back on that a little bit. This is a company that has multi-billion-dollar contracts with different things. This is 448 million. So while the news is good here by comparison to several of the other deals and contracts that it get, really probably one of the smaller ones, Nonetheless, stock is still holding higher here by 1.5%. It actually does look like this wants to try a little bit higher here. If it takes out the pre-market level, we go back to the daily chart here. This is kind of what it looks like, and this is where we are with some of the recent moves that have happened on Palantir. Awesome that we've recently reclaimed the 50. I just told you by looking at the inside or the 5-minute chart where we're looking inside the day that it looked like it wanted to trade up. That story is the same here on the daily chart. Sure looks like this wants to trade higher here. I have a resistance area here at 195, and then I have a gap that doesn't fill till 205. So as far as some of your key levels here, a move through 195 to the upside probably puts the target at 205. 13, do you have any insight or thoughts on the chart here for ticker PLTR?
So yesterday was the third close above the 50-day SMA, and here we are trading higher. Now, certainly we have news. So the timing is pretty interesting. Now, as far as levels go that I have out here,
We're open.
Sorry about that. I'm just getting too distracted.
You're good.
Real quick then, Palantir, 186, next resistance area I have. We get through that, then I don't see a whole lot of resistance until closer to 190.
Okay.
All right.
ENVB here. First move was a little bit of a push up towards the VWAP there. Remember, very, very low float, so be careful with this. Looks like it pushed a little and pulled right away. I'd be very careful about buying some of the moves up. I think you're probably better off buying on support here.
And Beat is making its way up. So far, this one's looking good.
Yep.
Trying to get through 150. If it does, there's still there's a seller in the way at 150, but I noticed an even larger one at 160. So even if we do make it through 150, we might run into some pretty tough resistance, just 10 cents higher from there. So we'll see what we end up getting here. We need to see some big volume pretty soon here in order to go higher.
All right, we'll see if we end up getting that here on Beat.
Yeah, this one has the best looking setup. We just need that volume component. ASPC, this lost a trend line, not liking that, the way that looks.
Okay, that was that SPAC one, right?
Yep.
ASPC.
BBGI, that went sold off into the open the last 10 minutes of the pre-market, finding support down around the 9 EMA, trying to recapture the VWAP at the same time. Beat is beating the highs. Here we go. We're starting to move. New session highs.
Yeah, that was a nice little breakout there, right through 150 like we had outlined earlier.
Yeah, so far that one's looking good. You could even draw a trend line on the top side of those those wicks that we had from the pre-market.
That's what we're going to do right now. And
we went right to that and backed off. If volume continues to expand, we're probably going to be able to get through this. But so far, hey, when I came on here and said keep an eye on this, that was down near VWAP, and we've managed to book about 20 cents. That's not bad.
Yeah, back test here of 150 might also provide entry to that. Your GEV also on the scanner, by the way.
Oh, beautiful.
Beat, by the way, trading far and away with the highest volume, so it certainly looks like the traders are there. Chewy, by the way, pulled back towards the VWAP out of the open, did not quite tap the VWAP.
Man, oh man, it's over 700. That's crazy.
All right. Yeah, 13. I'll be right back. Just give me a second.
Okay. So Beat backing off after hitting that trend line and 160, looking for support. I would say the support's going to probably be down around 140 to 140, somewhere between 140 and 145. We're going to want to see it hold up there if we're going to try and hit this trend line again. So we'll see what we end up getting with that. ENVB, this is starting to go positive. Big seller on the way at 1245. We'll see if that can get taken out. Once again, relying on the 65 EMA to recapture VWAP. Here we go, hitting the seller at 1245 right now. We'll see if we can get through. They're chunking at them. Looks like we pushed through slightly, but they keep reloading it. There we go. Now we're moving. So we're going to find some resistance up here in the 1250s as we and it's probably going to allow some movement up to as high as 13 before we get some resistance. 13 does look like the next resistance area. And there we go. Now we're starting to back off. We just lost 12 in VWAP. If this manages to get its footing here around 65 EMA and go back up to VWAP, still think $13 is going to be the big resistance area. HSPO, this thing lost its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's sinking lower. Beat kind of going back and forth like Michael Jackson across the stage saying,
oh, there we go. That was a good drop.
ASPC, this is halted after to the upside. It recaptured that trend line that I was when we got beneath it, I wasn't liking that. So we'll see what ends up happening out of the halt here. It still has to get above the VWAP, which I currently have at 32.77.
I've got it at 32.55.
Next door, this is trying to find some footing or a bottom. It just dropped out of the gate here, moving towards the 65 EMA. That's going to be the next spot I think could provide support. It did find some here around 240, which is the price went a little bit sideways from about 7:30 to 8:30 this morning.
BBGI, this pulled back and looks like it's trying to bounce straight off the 9 EMA.
Oh, yeah. Yep, BBGI, that's okay, here we go. That's pushing up as well.
Yep.
743 is the pre-market high. Looks like there might be some resistance around 675, and we're almost there. If we get continue with this volume expansion, we'll push right through it. After 675, looks like 715 could be the next resistance area before the pre-market high of 743.
Tesla call sweepers here, repeat sweeps on Tesla. That's this week's call sweeps. Actually seeing more call sweeps here on Tesla, saying the 12-2 expiry 450 is the strike there. Tesla straight up out of the gate above the pre-market highs. Nice little pump there on Tesla. Your pre-market, or excuse me, your intraday high from yesterday, 452.5. That would be your next spot there on Tesla.
All right, ENVB, this might be pushing up through 12 here. I have VWAP at 1203, so if we do get that recapture of 12, we want to see that a close, these 5-minute candles, a close above the VWAP. Give me some more confidence that we're headed back towards the upside. BBGI halted. I think you may have mentioned that.
Yep.
And ASPC still halted. Beat. Trying to figure out which direction it's going to go following the test of that trend line. HSPO.
ENVB traded back up towards the VWAP and couldn't get through it. So once again here, especially with some of these that are spread, there's USAR. Boy, that pulled back. That gave back that entire pop that it had. That's moving lower. Here's ENVB stopped again at the VWAP here. So especially on some of these low floaters here, I'm not sure buying the break is the right move. We'll see if this does break right now. It's trying a little bit of size there at 1240 that stopped it. We'll see if ENVB gets going. No position for me on this one yet.
GEV is on fire. We're at 720 now. Last week when I asked Tim Melvin about this, it was over $100 less than this.
Relative strength here too, because the market is pulling across the board and GEV is not caring at all about that.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. So great stuff there.
ENVB still flirting with its VWAP. We'll see if that can get going. Chewy still pulling back towards its VWAP. Hasn't tested it yet, but it looks like it wants to hold that here. That's CHWY.
Next door, still holding above VWAP right now, although it could still drop down to the 65 EMA. Not the greatest amount of volume, but we'll see what it ends up doing if it continues to hold the VWAP. Beat, this is coming down to a support area in the 130s. We'll see if that holds up. You have VWAP. I have VWAP at 135.
Amazon making the scanner here. So Izzy, your little dip and rip here on Amazon. Finally, a good day to scalp Amazon. Looks like it. I didn't take this one, but pulled right back down to the 65 EMA. I mean, how many times are we going to say this a day, 13? Probably a lot. Pulled back down to the 65 EMA, held it, and went higher from there. 2+ points now on that move.
We have a lot of
Tesla's pulling its pop back.
So we have 3 halts now. HSPO is now halted in addition to ASPC and BBGI, although ASPC, I think that's supposed to be unhalting at some point soon. ENVB, that's cleared my VWAP. Still trying to push up to the 13 area that I was mentioning earlier. So would like to see this get above 13 and start closing these 5-minute candles above it. That would give me some confidence as to more upside. So let's see what we end up getting with that.
Chewy here trying to bounce off the 15 EMA. I don't know if I trust this bounce yet on Chewy. I do want entry on that. I'm not sure if I trust it yet.
You see, are you referring to GEV? Because I understand it's very expensive.
Yeah, it's a very expensive stock. But I mean, even if you got 10 or 15 shares, it's still a pretty good move. You were talking about that in the low 600s. We're 100+ points, I think.
I was talking about this in the 500s.
Okay,
I
so
bought it in the 500s.
Even more then. But I mean, we've talked about GEV several times there. Chewy actually starting to bounce here, pretty good.
I was buying it last month. I think I was a lot of these things I was talking about. I was buying last month. And next door here, this is getting some more volume, pushing up away from VWAP, coming up to the 275 resistance area that we were getting in the pre-market high 278. So if we get enough volume here, we can push through these
Which
sellers.
One?
This is NextDoor, NXDR.
Yep.
So we're trying to take out some sellers here. We're doing it. Wow, we're really taking out some sellers here. They're just like these 10,000 share tranches, and we're just gobbling them up.
Yep.
There we go. Headed right towards the trend line. Here. I drew a trend line from all the highs in the pre-market. We're beelining for this.
It was from that second impulse move too here. It was right here.
So this could take us to 3. We're almost there. And
there it is.
Almost.
I've got the trend line pretty much right at 3 there.
Just a few cents away from 3. We're still hitting it and almost there. Beat lost the 140 level, still above VWAP. ENVB, this is still moving higher, trying it, but hasn't hit 13 yet. I'm just waiting to see if NextDoor is going to tap $3.
BDRX maybe bottomed here. The volume not great on BDRX, or at least the 1 minute volume, but this does look like this is turning around. Let's see if it gets through 550 where it's at right now.
The float I have for Beat is 29.5 million. That's what I got here in Pro. Folks have been mentioning PLAB this morning. I haven't looked at that one, so I'm going to take a look at that. Well,
I'll bring it up on screen here for you.
Photronics
continues to move. This is actually a pretty good gap and go stack here. Better than expected Q4 results and issued Q1 guidance above estimates. The conference call sounds like it was good.
Why does this look so familiar? Like
nice job, Izzy. Nice job on that Amazon trade, Izzy. Way to stick with it.
Oh,
it hasn't been good recently. Way to stick with it. Sorry, 13.
I mentioned the PLAB in the yesterday as one of the ones that was reporting this morning. I mentioned Oracle, PLAB, and Chewy.
And here's Oracle. Or excuse me, here's PLAB.
Yeah, and this is
Oracle after the market here today, right?
And I was I can't believe I completely blew this one off, but this one's in the semiconductor space. It makes photomasks for photographic quartz and glass plates. So that's great that this is taken off like it did. Man, now I feel kind of silly for just not focusing on it, but you can't catch them all.
ENVB still battling with that VWAP here, 1240 on ENVB. Remember last time we were here, this thing took a pretty nasty pull away from this area, but right down to that 65 EMA.
Oh, fantastic!
It's still spread 10 cents. Yep.
Fantastic, Michael Del Sesto. And Jay, you're one of the Jay. I think you were the first one that mentioned PLAB. I missed what you said though. So you were talking about them buying the January 25 calls all week, or investors were. So I hadn't looked at that. I just was noticing that this was on deck for earnings yesterday, and I took a quick gander at it, and I thought it was interesting, but didn't look at it beyond that. So I certainly should have looked a little deeper. All right, looks like Beat still getting some more volume here. Let's see if we get another test of that trend line that we drew. NextDoor backing off of 299. Didn't hit 3, unfortunately. I think
looks like the market is defending the lows here from the pre-market. It is trying to bounce here. 682 on the SPY. Netflix getting pounded more here today. This is, again, until this really kind of gets this whole Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount, Skydance, Netflix thing gets resolved. Probably just waiting for that one. Warner Brothers Discovery is higher here. Netflix pounding the lows today.
ASPC open and going higher. Kind of gapped up out of this halt. You have pre-market. I'm sorry, hold on. That's an after hours high of 44.44. The pre-market high is 42.98. We're above VWAP now, so we might go on a little bit of a run. Like every time that we clear VWAP, we might go on a little bit of a run. It's halted again, and hit that, some level up in the high 30s, low 40s, and then back off again. That's been the story so far here with ASPC. ENVB couldn't handle 13, and now it's backing off of the 1275 high it just was trying to push over. Lost VWAP, trading beneath the 65 EMA briefly. We still have 40 seconds left in this candle, so we need to see this close above 65 EMA.
Warby Parker here. This is moving higher, kind of low volume, but this is going here. Let's see what Nextdoor is doing. Nextdoor pulling back. We'll see if this holds here at one of those levels. I'm thinking 269 maybe.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah. Okay. So Jay, yeah, the nuts and bolts of semis. I got that from the brief read that I did on that. So it was really interesting when I read it. But like I said, I should have been paying better attention to it. I should have read more into it. I think we were just we were looking at some other stuff last night as well.
Yeah, it was kind of like a lightning round where we were just going through stuff there. So
we got into Chewy and talked about that. And then we were also talking about some other ones that were moving earlier today or yesterday. So yeah, my fault. I should have paid better attention to it. Billy is mentioning that TERN has a pop. I think it's a biotech is what you're mentioning here. Let's take a look. TERN. Yep, it is a biotech. 90 million float. Looks like they got a bunch of news yesterday regarding a $400 million offering. That's now been upsized to 650. So I think that's the reason why you're seeing this movement up here.
BBGI, this is going here. This might halt again. Let me pull it up in another chart here. It looks like 814 is going to be another halt spot here. Indeed, halted.
Yep.
Oh no, wait. It says resumed at 9:45. No, it's still going. Not yet.
It's not halted. Now it's halted.
It is. Okay.
All right. So that was at what, 814, 815. So that's right up in the sideways consolidation area from late 2024, early 2025.
Yep.
We managed to chew through all of that. 950 looks to be the next big resistance area.
Apple looks like it might be making a move towards 280. Tesla pulled back down to the lows. That's been kind of all over the place. Palantir spiked to 187 and pulled off that Navy contract. Here's Turns Pharma. This is going for 46. Kathy said, I sold my turn position a couple of days ago at 20, right before it popped to 40. Oh. You'll get them on the next one, Kathy. I tell you what, you've had a real sharp eye for all of these. Let me know what's next on your list that you're looking at.
Beat is hitting VWAP. If this doesn't hold up, we could see a pretty good size drop down to about 125.
Is it buyable down at 125?
I don't know. Let me draw another line here and see what I think about this. It actually, okay, so it might drop down to 125, but I think what I'm going to want to see is if it holds up above this trend line on the bottom side here. Like if you draw the from the low of 715, that's just following the impulse move that took us up here, and then also the low from 815. That's kind of where I'm looking at support. So if we don't, if we lose this trend line, then this is certainly going to the 65 EMA in my opinion. But it looks like we're still trying to hold above VWAP right now. Need to see some better volume in beat. Meanwhile, HSPO, that is unhalted. It is trying to get hold above VWAP now after we gapped up. So that is the third. Okay, so we had 3 halts today. They've all gapped up out of their halts. Just putting that out there.
Okay. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yep. And I don't know if HSPO is going to get into another halt, but so far it hasn't yet. Still climbing higher. This might go to 30 before we get into a halt. We'll see. Nextdoor losing VWAP. Same thing with beat. Although it might recapture it. We'll see. All right, HSPO backing off. ENVB still trying to hold above its 65 EMA. It's trading beneath it at the moment.
Chewy holding here above its VWAP. I actually have VWAP here 35.89. Got the stock right here at 36.
That was a really nice. So that had earnings dropped. Was this in the pre-market that it had a big drop off?
Yes. Okay. So it had earnings here in the pre-market. It sold off on earnings down to about 32.5 and then instantly reversed.
Okay.
Very quickly reversed. We're actually back above our trend line too that we had here on Chewy. Here's what it looks like.
So Forever 21 Bitcoin is buying a lottery ticket, PFSA. Apparently they're going to have some news. Profusa.
Possible great phase 3 commercial trial report. I'm ready for 0 or 10x. Okay, so that sounds like a binary trade there. It's either gonna work or it's not. Are you doing that with options, Barry? Who's buying stock? You know, part of me wonders if there's a Chewy bounce coming here, if it can hold above this trend line and hold above the VWAP. I'm not sure if the downside here is done yet, but I'm almost thinking we might be setting up for a bounce here on Chewy.
Now, is this regarding their Lumi device that measures tissue oxygen? Let me know if that's what it's for, because I don't see a whole lot of information on their website about what they've got going on. It seems like this is their flagship product. Let me know. All right, so we've got Beat losing VWAP there, coming down to the trend line. If this doesn't hold above 130, thinking that we might see the 65 EMA, which is down at 115. So we need to recapture the VWAP and start pushing higher here in BEAT.
Okay, let's see.
We just unhalted the BBGI. That's higher now. 83 is the current high. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay. Chewy is trying to turn around here. Did not quite test that VWAP at 35.90, but looks like it's trying to bounce here. That's CHWY. Here's your BBGI. This is open and higher now, trading above $9.
All right, let's see here.
See what else we have here.
All right, so Izzy, Amazon levels. Still liking 235 as a resistance to the upside.
You want me to go to a big chart for this?
Sure. So when I look at the daily chart, you can see that if you look at the 235, that's been a big resistance area going back to the middle of the year, like July. So we've had like maybe a couple of days where we've closed above it, but we've come right back beneath it every time. We had a gap up through it in October. When we traded above that for a good period of time before we ended up going right back beneath it. And then most recently on December 2nd, we attempted to recapture 235 and was rejected up around near 238. So to me, 235 is a pretty standout level. If we're going to see some more upside, we've got to recapture that. It is nice that we're getting support from the 50-day SMA today, and we're moving through the 20-day SMA. But at 235 level, I think that's the big one that's in the way right now.
Okay. Seems about right there on Amazon. Let me go back to the main workspace. Love continuing to trade higher here. BBGI. Brent, yeah, you have a target here. What did you have? Is there some 926? Your target on BBGI? Well, why didn't it load there? BBGI.
Yeah, BBGI 935 is the current high. Let me see where this is going. There's other levels of resistance we can keep an eye out for. So this might be, I think I mentioned that I think around 950 could be one for BBGI. And if we get through that, then it looks like about 1040 to 1050 would be next. And if we get through that, then 1070, I would say, is the next one beyond that.
Nice. Well, we're already entering some pretty crazy levels there for BBGI. We'll see if we keep trading up on that. And then, yeah, good mention there, Billy. Adobe, Synopsys, and Oracle all reporting after hours here today. That'll also be post-Fed. So we'll see what happened. What happened to Ondas? Just pulling back a little bit here, down to what, about 5%?
ASPC, this is open and trading higher. It took out the pre-market high barely. 43.19 is the current high. That's not well. It's pretty close to the after-hours high of 44.44, but we didn't quite get up there yet. Let's just give it more time. This thing is very spread, so be careful with this one if you're trading it.
Sorry, which one?
This is ASPC.
ASPC, got it.
Mm-hmm. It was one of the ones that was unhalted. It was halted and then unhalted, went higher, hit the pre-market high, then backed off. But we're still above VWAP. So if we continue to hold above VWAP, I still think that we may be able to get that after-hours high of 44.44. But I think it's all dependent upon holding above VWAP at this point. And remember, this has been the one where we have traded above VWAP, for maybe 10, 15, sometimes a little bit longer minutes. And then it comes right back beneath the VWAP and gets support from the 65 EMA. That's been the story so far this morning. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And here we go with beat. This is losing that trend line. If this candle closes beneath it, then I think we're going to see some 65 EMA prints.
Palantir, pretty big reversal there from the 187. That's a 4-point pullback there. That looks like it's trying to go lower. Also, PLAB looks like it's slowing down on that move higher.
Yeah, and HSPO, this is also unhalted. Volume doesn't seem to have stuck around. It's having a hard time getting back above the VWAP. So if we can't see some closes above VWAP, I'd be looking at that 65 EMA for some support. It was resistance going into the open, so now it's going to be support, something to certainly watch for.
Right. BDRX, this was one of our movers too. Let's see if that's doing anything. That is curling here. Got the VWAP about, 60 cents higher than where we're at. So maybe if that continues. SQQQ, when we were just talking about this yesterday, reverse splitting.
Did that happen? Oh,
yeah, it was like $2 yesterday. Oh, that was, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm mixing it up. That was SOXS. Yep, and it's still 296. So this is the one that we're kind of waiting for on a reverse split. Sorry, I mixed that one up there, 13.
No worries. Just looking around to see if there's anything that's looking good right now. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that's really tradable at the moment.
And I was going to say, as far as setups go, doesn't seem all that great here.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at the SPY, see what the broader market's doing.
The SPY bounced, but couldn't get back to 684. Still dealing with 683 right now, just shy of that.
This is, it's kind of sideways. It's been sideways, I think, since maybe Monday. We dropped on Monday and then we went sideways. We pretty much continued that yesterday. Just kind of bounced around a range within Monday's price action. Now we have tested a lower low in the pre-market here. No, I'm sorry, that was in the regular session. Right? Yeah. That was just shortly after we opened.
Right after the open, we basically tested the pre-market low and bounced from there. Yep.
So that took us down to looks like Thursday's low in the regular session.
Jay, this is I like this here. Jay says, I still think 2026 is going to be the year of the small and mid caps like Plab. Just got to find them. Large cap tech will chop around. Just my opinion. Jay, I am in complete agreement with you. That was actually another one of the discussions that we had yesterday in Happy Hour. Really does seem like there's probably going to be some more choppiness in some of these big cap tech names. And with the rate cutting plan here, I too would think that looking for small caps probably going to outperform a lot of those large caps. I'm with you on that one. I'd be curious to know what your best picks going into 2026, things that you're watching. Of course, it can change, but I'd be interested in that ahead of the calendar turn.
I remember when we had a really low rate environment back during COVID, that we saw a period of time in late 2020, early 2021, where SPACs were all the craze. So I would think, we're already starting to see some SPACs get a lot of attention. So I'd think that for a time, we're going to see SPACs get a lot of attention.
Yeah, and Billy, I'm wondering this myself. Once they officially change the PDT rule, is small cap mania going to take place? I still think some of those smaller accounts that are going to be more active in trading, well, there should be more volume in there. I don't know that that's necessarily just going to drive things higher universally. I do think it should make for better volumes as more people are likely to be active.
And let me ask you, Jay, and anybody else that's been following this, what's the thought here with the market when it comes to the Trump accounts? Because I think we're all talking about this excluding that event that's going to happen. But once all those Trump accounts start getting funded, that's going to likely pump the market up quite a bit. Does this forecast what you guys are talking about include that at all? I'm just curious.
And I think the Trump accounts that you're referring to are the $1,000 to newborns, right? That these are just going to buy some of those quality stocks there. Yeah. JJ says, what's the date for the PDT rule change? I don't know that they have a specific date. I'm pretty sure that needed to gain some type of a SEC approval, if I'm not mistaken, or some type of approval process they're still waiting on. I don't think the long and short is saying, I don't think we have a specific date yet.
They await final SEC approval after FINRA approved amendments in September.
Right. That's what it is. Thank you, 13. So FINRA approved, SEC finally has to approve. We thought we were going to get that near the end of 2025, maybe early 2026. Yes. And that's why the date is not for sure yet. Lion here says, I bought one lucky put contract for Adobe. So what strike and expiry are you playing for the downside there on Adobe? It does seem like that's kind of a lottery play for you, kind of like a lottery earnings play. Which is fine. Let me know what strike and expiry that is. Voodoo, good to see you. Good morning. Hopefully you're doing well.
And we have all three of our halts halted again. So BBGI, ASPC, and HSPO all halted again, but this time all to the downside.
WOC, ticker WOK, down 81% after this got halted. This moved down, halted. This looks like this is pounding the lows. Hopefully nobody is in that one. Got Motion says, are we all selling before the rate cut? Selling what? I don't think any of I'm not changing around any of my investment plays on the rate cut here.
Have you looked at a daily chart for WOC?
No, I mean, this thing's a piece of junk, isn't it?
Oh, man. Yeah, putting it lightly. Oh, man. This is down to $1. This is going to be, it's gonna be pennies at some point. What happened with this?
I think that isn't this just like a China pump?
I mean, well, it looks like a China dump right now.
Yeah, well, okay. Well said. Whis, guess Ryan is ignoring me today. What did I miss, Whis? Let me scroll back up and see if I can find it. Didn't see anything. I'm certainly not ignoring you. Ryan, have you ever tried matcha?
Good mention, Jonathan. ENVB is moving here. Just blew through the VWAP. Took out some of these levels from the pre-market. $16 is still the pre-market high. We still have our trend line here. We got to get through some other levels. $13 looks like the next big level to get through here. We'll see if it can recapture that. If it does, then I think we're going to keep an eye on 1450.
And hey, look at that. I was saying earlier that buying the breaks, not the right move. Instead, buy on the support. It was the 65 EMA yet again supporting ENVB. Whis, to answer your question, I absolutely love matcha. My favorite, I don't have any right now. I'm actually out, but I've been doing the double matcha tea from the Republic of Tea. One of my favorites.
Unhalted. Everything is unhalted. BBGI trying to push higher. This is going to go into an upside halt. ASPC, that's trying to push higher after getting support from VWAP. HSPO, this is recapturing VWAP. No movement right now because it's so damn liquid, but all green with those halted names.
Whis, I tried. Let me know if you got that. Okay.
Sorry to keep running you over there. We got stocks moving, guys.
Man, oh man, I'm just trying to answer the guy that said I was ignoring him.
Well, you know what? In about 27 minutes, that'll be a great time to do it because the market will have given up.
I don't know if the market's going to give up on Fed day here.
I know. What time is Powell talking? That would be shortly after. Yeah, that's like right after they.
Well, I think it's 2:30 is when his actual speech is, something like that.
Yep. So that's we're expecting that to happen today. Certainly going to have to focus on what he says about rates going forward. I think a lot of the market's already baked into a rate cut today. Yep. And
we'll be streaming it, by the way. Yeah. So you'll be able to watch it right here. That Adobe put, thank you, Lion. That Adobe put, the 320 put for December. Okay, so you're doing the monthly contract expires in 9 days. You're looking for just that earnings move.
Looks like Beat is at risk of really falling out over this trend line and making its way down to the 65 EMA. Large seller at the way at 140. Unless the volume suddenly comes back in and pulls us back up, this might be done here.
Yeah, it actually looks like it's using that VWAP as resistance here.
All right, ENVB, this still trying to push higher, still looking for 13. I'm right here. HSPO, this is also trying to get back above VWAP. Next door, this one looks like this is going to sink towards its 65 EMA as well.
Horizon Space Acquisition. Is this one from your space playlist?
What's the ticker?
HSPO.
No, because this is I believe this is a SPAC.
Just a SPAC there. Yeah. No, I'm just wondering because it said space in the theme. I was just wondering if you had that added there.
I think I looked and saw what they. Oh no, the whole reason they're I don't even know if they've had any company they're merging with. They're doing a delisting, a voluntary delisting from the NASDAQ and go to OTC. That's why it was.
That doesn't sound great at all.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say ENVB here. This is continuing to move through the highs there. It actually just took 13, although it looks like it's finding some resistance there. Sorry, 13.
Yeah. So HSPO. I mean, if you're going to delist off the what is this on the NASDAQ? Yeah. So that's going to save them money. I think that's the whole big. They're not being delisted and going off of all exchanges. They're just. I think with the play is here, they're trying to save themselves money by delisting off of NASDAQ, going OTC. And that's why you got buyers, because the buyers are thinking, oh, okay, well, this is not going away. I'll just buy the stock and, take advantage of that money savings that they're going to have with the, going OTC. That's my thought anyway. I don't know if all that is true, but what other reason would you have for delisting yourself off the NASDAQ going OTC? Because it's expensive to be listed.
And you don't want to have the same reporting requirements.
Right.
Resolute here, 5,000 contract sweep. That's a put. That's the put for 750 that expires this month. So 9 days to expiry on that RZLT put.
Sniper, take care of yourself. I hope you feel better.
He's hanging out with us, he said. He's sick, so he doesn't have to go to work. He gets to hang out with us instead.
I thought he was salutations. So sorry, I misread that. But still, I hope you feel better. All right. Those are still halted. HSPO is still trying to push higher.
How's Chewy doing? Let's check in on Chewy. Chewy can't bounce yet. Boy, Bri, we can't hook this one yet, can we? Let me know. Are you going to trade? Oh, you have a long-term hold on it, don't you? I can't remember. Let me know if you're short-term trading Chewy here. Maybe if it can hold this 36, maybe we make a move back towards that pre-market high, 37.5.
Yeah, G-Man, Rocket Lab is fantastic. It's this is one of the ones I was buying last month. I didn't get all the shares I wanted, but because buying on the way down, but got enough. I'm happy with it.
Rocket Lab, nice little rocket move here today.
Oh yes, recapturing the 50-day SMA today. I mean, it was when this was going down in the low 40s. That was, I think, the time, and then we had a move underneath $40 for a couple of days, and I think that was the last opportunity because we were kind of hitting some support areas that we established back in August earlier this year. So this was looking pretty good. Took a stab. I was looking for some more, shares down around, 37, but we didn't get down there.
Chewy calls, the 35 calls that expire in 2 days from now. That was this Friday. That looks like a short-term upside trade there on Chewy. So you had the 35 calls. Yeah, there was that same contract got swept up there. See if Chewy bounces at all from this area.
Okay, so the guys are talking about the news. So they had their first rocket launch site or their only rocket launch site aside from the one they now have in Virginia was in New Zealand. So they've been building this company by doing launches out of New Zealand, and now they have a launch facility in Virginia that's exclusively for the U.S. Defense Department. So And then, of course, the Neutron rocket that's still upcoming. That's going to be a bigger rocket that's going to compete with SpaceX's Falcon 9. And yes, SpaceX is planning on going public. We'll see what the valuation ends up being, but it's certainly going to be up there.
DXYZ, this is the Destiny Tech ETF. This was actually higher in the after hours. Was there a launch? Was there like a Starlink launch or something? What happened?
I don't think that it was had anything to really do with SpaceX aside from the IPO news.
Yeah, it was the 1.5 trillion IPO in 2026 news that popped this in the after hours yesterday. That's coming back down to earth here a little bit today.
And I think that's part of the reason why you're also getting this move with Rocket Lab, because it's got a really high valuation relative to their revenue. But I think because of how highly valued SpaceX is, you're getting a lift in all these other launch vehicle names. Rocket Lab. I'm sure if United Launch Alliance was public, which I don't think they are, that would certainly be getting a lift as well. Let's look at the watch list of space names that I have. And I know that one of them was also moving. I think Momentous, or maybe no, I'm thinking of something else.
I was going to say MNTS. That was actually on the list here today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me refresh Pro. This is actually lagging a little bit here.
Yeah, MNTS was one of them. That's down now. Meanwhile, the other names that are up, so Fly Aerospace looks like that's aside from Rocket Lab, that's the one that's up the most. Let me see what the news is on that. Okay, so this is up on. They added Volta's wireless power receiver to Blue Ghost mission. Not sure what all that means. I haven't read into this information here, and I don't know enough about Firefly, but this is one of the, this is going to be another launch vehicle competitor to SpaceX and Rocket Lab. So they are doing launches. They're just, not as far along as those other companies. ASTS, yeah. We've got a different, I got a different take on ASTS. It's probably not going to be as great. I think eventually SpaceX's Starlink's going to end up eating its lunch.
What do we think, Beat? If it crosses this 135, it's at 133 right now.
It's still holding up this trend line, but we've got to recapture VWAP, and there's a large cylinder away at 140 and 138. We need to see more volume than this if it's going to recapture VWAP. Otherwise, I'd be concerned about losing the trend line that we drew and going down to the 65 EMA.
Yep, and we are not seeing it. We are not seeing that volume yet.
No, it looks like...
Here is MNTS, by the way. This is that penny stock. Giving everything back. Yeah, thinking about it, I was hoping that you were going to chime in with this. Remember, DXYZ, remember that it only holds about 18 million worth of SpaceX.
And... that's more than a lot of other stocks you can trade here has. The only other way to get, shares of SpaceX is to go through Barron's.
Yeah. Okay, I still don't see anything great here. Palantir making a return back to the highs. I know that had pulled earlier, but that's coming back here. Yassine asking about AV. That was another stock. That's the drone leader there that was reporting earnings. This did end up going lower here. Maybe 250, Yassine.
Beat is recapturing its VWAP, trying to push higher here. We did get that support from the trend line. It's let's see if it holds up here. We still got 2 minutes left in this candle.
Oh, that did capture it. Let's see.
Yeah, the volume is just a little concerning to me. I'd like to see this go up, back up towards 160, but volume just doesn't look very good right now. Maybe it expands.
Yeah, you're almost thinking that this is a head fake here.
ASPC just blasting off 52.28 now the high. It's probably going to halt again.
Same with BBGI.
Yep.
1144. Boy, this was the mover of the day here.
These movers, like all the we have like 3 stocks that have been halting. Man. 2 have been really good. HSPO, this is, it's much slower, but we're back above VWAP now. Maybe 34.5 could be coming.
HSPO. Sorry, I'm having such a difficult time keeping up today. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Let's see what else we have. Marvell calls. We talked about Marvell earlier. Looks like we're getting some call buying there. That's still holding by its VWAP. Lion Atlas saying he's adding some of the fertilizer plays, MOS and FMC. We looked at FMC yesterday. That is the stock in the S&P that has the worst year-to-date gains of any S&P stock this year. So perhaps next year we'll get a regression back to the mean there on FMC.
I could see these fertilizer plays just absolutely ripping with the end of the Ukraine-Russia war. Just absolutely tearing. Because, that would, you have Russia being a massive producer of fertilizer products. And, Ukraine is essentially the breadbasket
of Europe. Yeah.
Europe. So an end to that would probably do wonders, not only for fertilizers, but food as well. Here we go with beet trying to recapture 140. Looks like that seller that was at 140 has spread out into the 140s and 150s.
Now this is pretty good on the recapture though. The SPAC moves are silly, won't end well, just like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm thinking the same thing. Well, I don't want to chase any of them.
Absolutely, they'll all go down under $10. Most of them will anyway, and then they'll shake everybody out, and probably some of them, a very small amount, will end up actually doing really well later on and recover. Like there was some SPACs that from 2021 that I took and held on to and ended up working out pretty well. I think of all the SPACs, and some took longer than others, but DraftKings was a good one. That one worked pretty much immediately, and we never we didn't really see the underside of $10 a whole lot. Then you also had United Wholesale. That was a good one. Hasn't been back up to the some of those levels in a while, but if you were patient and you picked it up down towards like around $3 or $4, you did pretty well. There was another one too. Can't think of what it was at the moment, but most of those SPACs were just terrible.
Izzy's here saying SoFi was one of those.
SoFi, that was another good one. That one, I think you also had to have a little bit of patience on because that one ended up going down pretty low before we turned around. So some of these SPACs did end up doing pretty well following redemptions. And
GEV here, this is giving back a lot of its pop from the open there on GEV.
Yeah, that was
looks like 723 was your high there. Excuse me.
Yeah, most of them absolutely went belly up or under $1.
Can we check the dividend on FMC? Sure, I can do that here real quick.
Pretty high yield at this stage.
Yeah, I've got it here. The last one here with 5.61. That was there should be announcing another one. They didn't cancel it, did they?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, I'd be concerned about it if because that's like $73 million every quarter that they're paying out in dividends.
Yeah, 5.61% as of the last. That's your dividend. FMC. They don't have another one announced. Last time they announced one was July 16th, and that was payable to holders of record on October 16th. We should be expecting another one here. And if we look back, they announced this right around middle of December. So you're thinking probably the next couple of days here, right? 2024, they announced it December 13th. The year prior, December 15th. It's December 10th here today. So we are expecting that here pretty soon.
Okay, and they're not reporting again until February.
ENVB, this is why we don't buy those breakout pops. Instead, added support. This is actually all the way back down to that 65 EMA. Got that at 1159 here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I really want to pick up right now.
Hey, Cracker Barrel went red to green. Cracker Barrel reported earnings the first time since the whole logo fiasco. This sold off like crazy. It spent a lot of the aftermarket trading back to green here. And actually out of the open now, red to green move here. CBRL, Cracker Barrel.
I mean, this thing's been absolutely hammered. So
yeah, it has.
This should rebound. Since July, let's just take a little measurement here. Since the July highs, we are down.
Look at that.
62%.
Unbelievable.
I kind of think that regardless of what earnings were, this is probably going to get a rebound one way or the other, just because it's been so hammered down. But I do see some concerning technicals here.
ASPC, your SPAC, this is halted again here, 58.72. So I didn't try to buy this, but somebody else in the chat here mentioned that this was not purchasable on Thinkorswim. Yeah, Jonathan here, ASPC isn't purchasable on Toss.
All right. I'd really like to think that Cracker Barrel is going to rebound, and if it does, it's kind of trading in a broadening wedge to the downside. So we could certainly see some more downside with a breakdown out of this wedge. But if it's going to recover, it should be recovering soon. And if we are going to continue to bounce around this wedge before we actually get that breakdown, we'll come back up and see we'll see the 60s first. So that's what I'd be looking for if we are going to get that rebound. So from here, resistance levels to the upside for Cracker Barrel, I like 34, I like 40, and I like 50. I would say 50 to 51. So
real quickly, more Chewy calls getting bought, but man, oh man, what weakness here. That was a nice pre-market move back, red to green, but this thing has had zero strength since the market open here. Chewy looks like 35 at risk of losing here, 35 handle.
MNTS, we were looking at that one earlier. It looks like, is this getting some more upside movement?
iRobot through the VWAP, sorry, 13.
MNTS, no, this is actually trying to rebound here. It looks like it got some support from the yesterday's highs. It's rebounding, trying to recapture some levels. I don't know that we're going to be able to get back above $1. Let me look at my broker's chart here and see what I see. So we did recapture the 65 EMA. We're running into some of the smaller EMAs right now. VWAP I have at 98.5 cents. So even if we do have some recovery happening here, the big question mark for me is going to be that VWAP. We already had one rejection out of the gate here. We traded up to it, and it sent us down beneath the 65 EMA. So that's going to be the next resistance area for me in MNTS.
Meta here struggling with 650, although maybe it's trying to turn around here. We talked about Meta earlier. ENVB still sub 12 here. It's above its 65 EMA, but not bouncing just yet. Barat mentioning Warby Parker. That is having a nice day here today. WRBY is your ticker there. Let me bring that up.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, Lion. We do. The Cracker Barrel could benefit from a Sydney Sweeney ad, I would say. Looks like if it doesn't start with BBGI or ASPC, it's not really doing a whole lot at the moment.
No, it's not. Turn here. That Turn Pharma. This is higher here. I don't really see a entry plan there.
ENVB is just like been going sideways for the past couple hours now, it looks like. So
yeah, I had that one pop above the VWAP that immediately got sold, and it got sold right back down to support. It hasn't started to move since then.
And 13 was the resistance area, and even though we traded a little bit higher than that, we lost that level, and I still think it's resistance. HSPO is trying to also push above some of its resistance as well. Looks like 29 is the tough area for it to get through. I don't know about beat. The volume just doesn't.
BBGI 1334. It looks like it might re-halt up here. BBGI.
Oh man, that's crazy. Halt.
Are you in this one? Are you trading this?
No, I'm not.
No, yeah, me either.
No, I have no open positions right now. I'm not going to chase.
Neither do I.
If anything, I'll probably just take some profit on some existing positions I've been holding on to.
13, do you have a plan for the Fed here today for trading it?
No.
Nothing yet?
No. We'll see what it looks like closer to the time. But I tend to think that we're going to probably see a sell the news event. And then and then once that's over, whatever Powell ends up saying is going to determine the direction of the market. So if he's dovish, which I'm not expecting, but if he is,
me either,
that could reverse the market and bring it back up higher. But I think we're going to get a lot of talk about this is our plan for now. We've been doing this for the past couple of years. We cut at the end of the year, and then we don't do anything. And I think if we hold on to that cycle that they've been doing, where the rate cuts only come in like the back half of the year, he's not doing any more for the remainder of his tenure. Yeah. So if that's and yes, the market is yes, Brian, I think you're right about that. If he's hawkish moving forward, I think we are selling off too. I think that's going to happen.
That's kind of where I put myself right now. The one other aspect, though, is I feel like the market kind of thinks he's a lame duck now, and you just did a really good job outlining how this might be the last cut that he's going to preside over. So I almost wonder if it's going to be kind of a muted reaction. But I think I'm still probably in the camp that if it's hawkish, we probably move down.
ASPC unhalted went up to 63.98. It's not halted yet, but it's beneath that high and trying to go sideways, establish some footing. This might be rolling over or starting to. Next,
Joe saying that the premiums on 0 DTE SPY puts are higher than usual. That's expected ahead of the Fed. That crush will bleed out of it, I'm sure, as soon as we get the decision.
Next door just blew through the 65 EMA. It's trying to recapture it, but this has been looking weak ever since we hit $3.
Oh man, that looks like Karen reported it. Down we go.
Microsoft just can't hold up any consecutive days. Microsoft, I think, I still look at
that's the rotation out of big cap tech that we've been flagging for a while. I think that's just part of it.
Well, I still think that this really needs to come down to 444. We've talked a lot about how they're in Q4, their free cash flow kind of flies out the door and then it comes back in the next quarter. I still think that we could end up going to 440. I think is what I was mentioning, not 444, 440. Down there where the 500-day SMA is. It's looking like we're just headed that direction.
Whoa.
And we're not able to get back above the 20-day SMA since the start of November when we lost it. So until that happens, I'm still looking at 440.
JMG IPO. Let's see. We might not even have that in our feed yet. Oh, we sure do. JM Group. It's halted here, 631. So just an IPO here. I'm not sure what this is, though. Let's see if we have any info on it. Engaged in sourcing and wholesaling toys, gifts, and household products and other products for international brand owners.
That's
sports and outdoor recreation.
It's just some funny headlines
and games
that I'm seeing here with Paramount Skydance. I mean, they really want this Warner Brothers deal, and Ross Gerber is calling Warner Brothers a dog asset worth no more than $15 a share. I kind of tend to think that that's true. It's just that the IP is so sought after. Everybody wants to take a stab at DC Comics now. But they also have other IP that's very important. I think one of the really big ones is Harry Potter. But,
I almost think that one's bigger than the superhero line, but
I mean, maybe. I think it just depends on what what movies or TV shows they come out with Harry Potter. Because I know that they're in development of a new series or a new I don't even want to use the word reimagining, but I have some real concerns about the direction they're going to be taking this.
Brian, Lord of the Rings. So that's part of it too, huh? The Lord of the Rings IP.
Is it?
That's what I was wondering. I didn't realize that was part of. Oh, HBO IP has a ton of classic series too. Okay, I think Lord of the Rings is owned by the HBO IP. Maybe I've got it wrong. Let me know. CDT on watch for volume. Hey, that's something before the actual move.
So I don't think they own it. There's just certain rights that they own. So Warner Brothers, because they were New Line Cinema, they have New Line Cinema now. They had the rights for the film trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy. Amazon now has TV rights. So I think it really comes down to is that I don't think there's really one entity that completely owns Lord of the Rings or any of the Tolkien's works. I still think a lot of it is being held by the Tolkien estate. Lord of the Rings, like I said, the movies. It's just the movies that I think they have the rights to, not the actual IP itself. All right, here we go. Beat falling out of the trend line again. Sorry, go ahead.
AAOI, Applied Optoelectronics. This is actually having a great day here. This part of our sensors theme, isn't it? Actually had a really nice move here off the $20 handle.
Let's see here. I don't know if this is one of the ones that we were talking about, but
networking products for networking end markets, internet data center, CATV, telecom, and FTTH. So this is more of a data center play than the sensors and such.
The internet connectivity.
Yeah.
And it's got high short interest, so this is squeezing as well. What do their financials look like?
ENVB getting mentioned. Did this pop again?
It's pushing up again. There. It's still not able to clear 13 yet, but it's moving.
But I'll tell you what, the buy area here on ENVB absolutely has been that 65 EMA down there at 1165, 1164. And here you go. This is again why you don't buy the break higher. Got pulled off of that immediately.
Momentous is looking for a recapture of $1. We still have to get past the VWAP right now, which is at 98 cents. So we're up in that area right now. Looks like ASPC just unhalted, back tested the 9 EMA and might get some support here that takes it higher. But this is a very illiquid name, and the spread on this is looks to me like it's $2, $2 plus.
This one might come back in.
Oh, I expect it will. I don't know when.
AAOI related to CIEN, which reports tomorrow. Good stuff there, Jay. That's right. I get that one mixed up with one of the other themes that we talk about.
I mix biopharma being asked about. This is moving right now. It's up 10%. Look at some.
IMMX, you said?
Yes, sir.
Another bio?
Yep. They announced a closing of an upsized $100 million underwritten offering of common stock and pre-funded warrants. That was news yesterday.
Cell therapies and blood cancers.
And this was yesterday after hours. So this is an after hours move that we're getting some carryover into today. Let me see here.
Pre-market resistance area at 730. We're basically right there.
Yep, we are right there. If you look at a daily chart, you'll see from December of 2023, we hit a high of 775. That's your next resistance, because after that, you have the all-time high of 868 back from 2022. I don't have any data prior to that. So those are your next two resistance levels before we see blue sky breakouts.
Okay. JMG is a new IPO here today. That one's still halted to the upside. Was this a China IPO? Let's see. Let's visit the company homepage and find out here.
I don't have this coming up on Pro. It just says JMG Financial Group, and it's a fund.
Yeah, this is the justin-marks.com.hk. So this is absolutely Chinese IPO here. for toys, sports, and outdoor recreation equipment. That's what it is. And it is halted to the upside at 733. Let's see anything great in any of these other ones we've been looking at. All right. I'll tell you what, might just be kind of on hold here till we get that Fed decision. Amazon actually still holding higher. That was not a bad mention earlier, Izzy. Well, as far as one of those big caps, that was probably one of the better ones to trade today. What did Dave & Buster's do today after earnings yesterday?
What was that?
Dave & Buster's big move higher.
What was that apparel company? Oh, did it? We'll look at that in a second. What was the apparel company we were talking about yesterday that you see Xi Jinping in a lot? A lot of Chinese are buying it. It's an American apparel company.
Oh, that's the trade that I'm in. That's ticker AS, Amer Sports, the parent company of Arc'teryx, which is the brand that you're trying to place. Ticker's AS, the brand name Arc'teryx.
Just checking something real quick here.
Now, how's that doing here today? That's actually up another 0.5% here today. Bueno. Alibaba ByteDance looks to order NVIDIA H200 chips after the Trump green light. Interesting. Now, that headline's 4 hours old. We were saying earlier that the companies needed to get approval in China to use those, and they needed to show why they wanted those over the domestically made chips. But that should be pretty good.
I thought I was going to be able to try to find my answer here. I was kind of curious to see if JMG had any hand in moving those apparel products, the Arc'teryx products around. So this was curious about that.
You see if there's any relation. Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't been able to find anything. I'm not sure if they do or not. This was kind of an idea.
Here's Dave & Buster's, which just made a huge move out of the open. This did resolve higher. Remember, we looked at this yesterday in the after hours. It moved down, moved higher in the after hours before we got off. But today, big rip higher here, $21 now on play.
I knew I should have picked this up because I had a feeling it was going to do this. If you look at the daily chart, the setup is just too good. We're about to get a silver cross. It's had earnings. You have this short interest that's ridiculously high. 75.8% of the float is shorted. 3/4 of the float is shorted, folks, and it's got almost 7 days to cover. I don't know if this is going to be the only squeeze that we see in this. This could probably go on for a little while.
I was going to say this could be a multi-day squeeze. Days to cover of 7 there. I mean, you could very easily squeeze this for over one session.
Yeah, and we're coming up to the 200 EMA. The 200-day SMA. Sorry about that. That's going to certainly provide some resistance. I don't know how much. It could end up continuing because we are approaching a gap fill. Back from September, in the middle of September, we have a gap fill here from what's up?
I'm laughing at the chat who's typing out the lyrics for the J.G. Wentworth commercial.
Oh, 877 cash.
I can't help it, it makes me laugh. X-Sniper says Ryan looks like he's over this market. Not even close. Ryan's waiting for the Fed. I don't think we're going to get much until the Fed. But I certainly wouldn't want it to be over without trying my hand at that, X-Sniper.
I have a margin call and I need cash.
That's not bad. We can have AI rewrite that jingle. Brian says it's a banger of a jingle. I'll tell you what, it gets stuck in your head. That's what it does.
Yep.
It's stuck in your head. You find yourself humming a commercial tune later on. Has anyone ever used J.G. Wentworth? I've never had a structured settlement or an annuity that I needed to cash out.
I've never had a dire need to get cash like that. So no.
Yeah, me either. I got to imagine that they take a bunch of it, right? That you're trying to get paid out, something that you're due over time. You're trying to get in lump sum. I got to imagine you give up a lot of total money on that, but I don't know. Never used it. Market is indeed pulling back here, actually in danger of setting some new lows here. SPY pulling back down to the day low. NASDAQ doing the same thing. Dow's quite higher than that, but still moving lower. This is what it looks like here on the SPY. So we'll see if 680, 681 can hold it.
Man, Friday's candle has been telling the tale so far. That was a nice reversal candle that we had on the SPY. Following day, Monday, big red candle. That took us beneath 684. We have not been able to recapture it since. Not yesterday. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting above there today. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me now that we're beneath this trend line that I was talking about yesterday. I would not be surprised to see 680 print soon.
Yeah, and I think this could definitely change too, based on whatever happens with Fed here midday. Yeah. But so far, it looks like a little bit of weakness ahead of it.
And with this selling off into the Fed meeting, it's starting to look a little more along the lines of, and I think Lion was mentioning this. We could get an initial drop, and then we could rally after that if this gets hammered enough. I don't think that we're going to rebound and recapture any of the levels from today, the opening levels or yesterday's levels, but I would think that that's certainly on the table for the type of price action we could see here if we're going to sell into the Fed decision.
All right, Jay says, going to put you both on the spot. What do you think will happen on the Fed? Is the 10% move in IWM the last 2 weeks baked in? Well, I think the move that you're seeing on the IWM, Jay, I think that's because the rate cut is indeed baked in. So to answer your question directly, I think we're going to get a 25 bips cut. And I also think you're going to hear hinting, call it hawkish if you want, but you're going to hear hinting that we probably are not in an immediate need to make another rate cut. And I think this is going to throw into question the timeline into next year on when we get those other cuts. 13, you had said earlier today, actually, maybe we don't get the next cut until the back half of the year. So that's kind of what I think. We get the cut here today. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of kind of hawkish talk or talk saying that we're not going to necessarily cut rates the next chance that we get. And I think the market probably moves down on that. Now, and I do think that the move in the IWM over the last 10 days is baking in the rate cut that we're going to see here today. Now, do we get a rejection or do we get a reversal of that? Excuse me. Do we sell off here today and then grab as people start to look forward because the market prices things 6 months in advance? That's kind of what I'm looking for. I think that that's also possible. I think you probably trade down here today. Let me know what you think, 13 and Jay, and anyone else that has an opinion.
So I think that we're probably going to come down to test 245 today. Following the rate decision. I don't like the way that this price action we've been having over this past quarter, like in pretty much the entirety of Q3 is a little bit of October. This looks like we've been double topping, and I would think that we're gonna probably come back in, especially if the Fed sounds hawkish about rate cuts going forward. I do think that a lot of this upward price action we've seen here has the 25 basis point rate cut baked in. And I say 25 basis point because if it just happens to be more, then I think we'll go higher. Like if it's a 50 basis point cut, I think we'll go higher.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not even considering a 50 basis point cut, but I think you're correct on that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I think the following the rate decision and the anticipated hawkish tone from the Fed, this looks like we're going to initially come back in, and I would think that 245 is going to be your earliest support area.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 245. I said 245, right?
You said 245. 245. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay, good stuff. There you go. Jay says, just asking, I see a bunch of bulls. Only one I know cautious is the Godfather. I guess you could throw me in there. I am fairly cautious. I do think overall we probably do make a move towards 7,000 on the S&P cash by the end of the year. But you're asking me about this near-term event here. I wouldn't be surprised if we pulled a little bit.
We could certainly see all that wonderful price action toward the end of the year following, Christmas. But, for this event, just as you mentioned, just for this event, that's the price action I'm anticipating with a 25 basis point cut and a hawkish tone from the Fed.
Okay. Lion here says, I think IWM will continue the move up after the Fed meeting. There's some more specifics for you. Marcus mentioning ON. Is that making a move here? And we got above that $45 level too. Nice move here with ONON.
JMG, that unhalted.
It's sticking with this, Marcus. Sorry, 13.
No, that unhalted, gapped up, went higher, halted again, 836, now the high. And, BBGI, that did get some support from the 1025 area, where the kind of where in the same area where the 9 EMA is. And it rebounded, and we're halted to the upside. I don't know what we're going to get out of this halt, but there's a possibility we might try and push higher beyond the 1334 high that we just made. But if we do, I think that's going to see some pretty heavy selling if we do move past that high. All right. iBio. You want to look at iBio? Let's see what that's doing today. That's down almost 1%.
Chewy finally showing some type of strength here, maybe. This actually finding some support around 35, which lines up with your 200 EMA intraday. Still don't feel great about Chewy, but we'll see if it can get above that 35.76 VWAP. Which one were you looking at, 13?
Izzy would like me to look at
iBio.
iBio, and right now we're in an interesting spot because it's kind of in the middle of this consolidation that's been going on pretty much from 2024 into 2025, not including the rip in February that led to a drop in April. But looking to the left of that, there's this consolidation that we're kind of working our way through right now. And the next area that I see that's going to have some pretty major some resistance, in my opinion, is going to be $3 level, and that's if we even get up there. This daily RSI is pretty extended, and it could still extend further because we've had RSI prints in iBio as high as 85, I think maybe even higher in some circumstances. Yeah, back in March of 2024, we went as high as like 94, so 95 actually. So we could see higher RSI, but the next resistance area that I see that might have a lot of sellers trying to get out of this thing is going to be at 3.
Okay. There you go, Izzy. Anda so far holding the 8 EMA. So this just looks like a pullback level on the daily. I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, yeah.
Trading action here today.
Lion, I totally expect there to be some kind of an angry truth. I think that's one of the things I was talking about yesterday. I totally anticipate there to be an angry truth today. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, post from Trump you're referring to.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Thoughts on T-Mobile?
You mean so we get the cut and Trump says you should have cut more or something like that? Too late. Sure. Powell probably going to make an appearance.
He's gonna say yes, because I don't know if you caught the big speech from that. I don't even know if we call it a rally, but he was talking yesterday for like a couple hours, and he didn't mention.
I was watching hockey in Oak Island yesterday. I unplugged.
But he mentioned too late. He didn't say him by name, but he said too late. You know who I'm talking about, right? And the crowd cheered. So I anticipate that's going to happen. So Jay, you're mentioning some of the auto parts names, and let me just take a look at that because the car industry has been absolutely hammered lately, and I think we've been seeing car prices come down. I think a lot of people rushed out to get a vehicle because they thought tariffs were going to massively impact the vehicles, and I think they did to a minimal degree. But all that buying now, they don't have anybody to sell to. People are defaulting on their loans, or just straight up going to the dealership, dropping the keys off, and walking out. I mean, the auto industry is not having a good time right now, and we are really close to getting a death cross for the first time in what seems to be 5 years. I think got pretty close a couple times. Maybe in 2023. Let me just zoom in here a little bit.
Which one are you looking at?
This is AZO AutoZone. Okay, so we did get a slight one in 2023, but that ended up getting a golden cross later that year in September. So that oscillation, I'm not really looking too heavily into. This thing has just been on a massive run. Back in 2020, this thing was under $1,000, and now it's it was over 4,000 earlier this year. It's going to come back in a big way, I think. 500-day SMA is the next support area. That's down at 3,350. We're close to that. And beneath that, the next support area is going to be 32.50.
Lion, you're buying Chewy. Is that the comment you wanted me to read? Good luck on that.
Take care, Judge. Have a good one.
Bounced off of its daily pivot here today, but kind of disappointing action from Chewy, to be honest. Intraday action, anyway.
Wow, that was a big
highs.
That was a big move with GEV. So that took us
Lower
over,
days now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it took us over 710, and then now we're just kind of sinking, filling the gap to the downside, which is fine. If this thing comes back down to 640, that's probably going to be a good spot. I still expect this to do well later, after today. Might see some gap filling before then, but I'm still liking the theme.
Okay. All right. Still don't really have anything great setup wise. Chewy calls dip in the money. So what you're looking at what, maybe 35 calls? What's your expiry on that? Short term, month or two? I think Chewy moves from here, right? Basically got here. Let me go to the bigger chart here, because I'll show you what we're looking at here in Chewy and why I was kind of hoping that this moved a little bit more today for the purpose of a short-term trade. I just didn't get it, didn't trigger. Look what the earnings did. Took us basically right to the 200. 37.57 was the high print that I have intraday here today. I believe that came in the pre-market. The 200-day moving average is 37.56. So on the back of that earnings reversal, remember, we sold down on earnings. We reversed, went green. We basically traded up to the 200, did not have the strength to move above it, and the stock has been weak ever since. So I guess, Lion, what I'd be asking here is we pulled back and we held the 50. So we're basically range bound here between the 200 and the 50. We close above the 50 here. Like I was saying, what is your expiry? What kind of time horizon are you looking for on this trade? And do you have a target here, like 40 or maybe the 37.50 200-day moving average? Let me know. But the action here today, basically rejected by the 200-day. Didn't have strength to get a carry-through move.
So two things. Ed Edwards, for one, the price of cars I still expect to be elevated, but when you go there and start talking to the fleet manager or whoever you're going to buy the car from, I would expect that they're going to heavily discount it to get you out the door with a car. So I think that's
absolutely correct. I can confirm. I actually have a buddy that's a finance manager at a car dealership in North Dakota. And last weekend, he said that they sold 27 cars. And they are doing everything they can to incentivize the customer, including, keeping people there past when the dealerships actually open. They're doing exactly as you're saying, 13. They are trying to incentivize buyers to get cars out the door.
And you might even see employee discounts going to regular consumers. So aside from the prices being high, I think they're just trying to give themselves as much of a margin as they can, but they are going to discount those vehicles to get them out the door.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I was asked to look at T-Mobile, and I've got some pretty bad news. I mean, if you look at a daily chart, I already think you know what I'm going to say.
Well, let me pull it up here real quick. I just like how you set that one up here. Just set the expectations. The bad news is that this is going lower.
So back out a little bit more, like back out so you can see going back to 2022, 2021. And I think you'll see the pattern that's taking shape here and that we're resolving. And I'll tell you where I think it's going.
All right, so it looks like we've got a head and shoulders here. I'm on a weekly chart, so looks like we have a head and shoulders here. It looks like it's trying to resolve to the downside. I would imagine you probably have a 176 or lower target.
Two lower targets. So I think the best case scenario is that this goes down to 163. Probably the worst case scenario, this goes to 141.
Okay. Izzy mentioning that Netflix low of the day. Like I was trying to see, you were trying to press me the other day on when I'm buying this. No sense in buying this until they get this deal figured out. This is clearly still trading on the back of that. Let it be in free fall. Let it carve out a bottom here. I would turn it back around on you. What level do you like here for Netflix? Round 90, maybe 88, 89 for the 100-day? Maybe even lower at 85?
You asking me?
I was asking Izzy, but I'll take your input on it. Low 80s for a buy. There we go.
I'll look at Netflix in just a tick. But Daniel was asking about levels for BBGI. And it looks like this, I mean, it's halted the upside. It looks like this wants to try and push higher beyond the 1334 level that it just
200-day at 15.97.
Okay, that would probably be the next spot that I'd be looking at then, because I don't see a whole lot of. You said the 200-day SMA.
Yeah, 200-day SMA. I've got it at. Oh, excuse me, that's the weekly. Sorry, I didn't go back to the daily. My bad.
Well, no, that's fine. I think that's probably a good spot, but I have my 200-day SMA at 1916. But anyway, I'd say that 1450 is the next resistance area to the upside if we get a move through these session highs.
Izzy, now this is a good mention here. Izzy saying, but if Netflix loses the deal, buy any price. And Izzy, I think that you're correct on this. I think if we get news that Netflix is not going to win this, you probably have a trade to the upside there just on like algos, right? Just on that reaction, that knee-jerk reaction to that news. I think that's probably correct. I would try to trade it that way. I would try to trade it the same way.
Because that's how many billions that they're not going to be spending?
Yeah, lots.
So here's the thing about Netflix.
And you guys are talking about it for content that may or may not even be marginal. I know some of you have different views on the DC or on the superhero line and all of that, but there seems to be a discrepancy here about how good that content actually is and how much it's worth. Weren't you saying that Ross Gerber said that was worth $15? It's 30. They're talking about 30, maybe even 35.
So Netflix, this has had a multi-year Golden Cross rally. We Golden Crossed back in November of 2022. And just recently, after a little more than 5 years, we have now had cross the 200-day SMA to the downside. That's, I think, pretty significant. And it would not surprise me if we still ended up going lower until we got some clarity on that Warner Brothers deal. If Netflix does end up being the purchaser, this is going down to the 500-day SMA. I have no doubts about that. Maybe even lower.
I've got that at 87. Yeah. I would think that you're probably right on that, 13.
So that's what I think is happening with that.
Ryan says 88 is his buy level and will DCA if it continues to sell beneath 88.
That's, you know what? That's great because that's just above the 500-day SMA.
Yep.
We're looking at the
that
same
makes a lot of sense.
And now, Izzy, this is interesting. Trump is against Netflix. Is that what is he for? Who does he want to have Warner Brothers get picked up by? Because I get the sense that it's involving the Saudis in some capacity.
He says that he's not really friends with, I think the quote is that he's not really friends with any of the people involved in the deal. But I mean, doesn't he have a friendship with the Ellisons? Like peeling back what he says, pretty sure he's friendly with the Ellisons.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's just what we're going to want to pay attention to. Is the thing I just said. Trump hates Netflix. The thing is that the Saudis have been eyeing Warner Brothers as well, and there could be a situation where they help one of the companies buy that. I think if they are going to help any company, it might be Comcast, but I don't. That might be wrong. I know that the Saudis have a real big interest in entertainment IP, so their wealth fund might be the one that just comes out and snatches the deal from underneath everybody. But we'll see.
As far as the robot stocks falling here, that's probably just a regression back to the mean after the headlines that we got that drove them higher here. iRobot, ticker IRBT, this obviously bucking the trend here. I don't have any fresh news on this one, but it is 37% here. Was this a low float? No, 22.5 million in the float. No, this wasn't necessarily part of the low float theme.
Yeah, JMG, that IPO today, that popped up to 909 and sold. It's starting to sell off. We're getting our first red candle of the day with this one. It's halted right now, but
which one?
JMG, the IPO.
Oh, the IPO.
Mm-hmm. So that one's halted the downside. First red candle of the day here with this one. And yeah, beat. As soon as we started losing that VWAP and not able to recapture it, this was looking like it's going to go lower. It was trading up into a rising wedge. I had some hopes for it when we were getting up to that 160 area. We were taking out the trend line, but man, the volume just went away really fast after that. And now it's looking like we're going to test our 65 EMA here soon.
Kev, take care of yourself. Good stuff here today. Thanks for your support as always, boss.
Take care, Kev.
AV hard pull. Did we set new lows on that?
I think when we were talking about this one yesterday, this is a great topic that we talked about, because one of the things that I think this is having a problem with is competition.
Yeah,
and this is all they do is just different types of drones. I mean, I think there's some software side to this, but mostly their business is drones. And unless you're taking the approach that Ondas is, becoming a multi-technology company, you're otherwise just a one-trick pony.
And I think as competition proliferates, it's going to be worse and worse for this. Also, this is clearly having an effect on probably the other drone stocks as well. Arcat, Ondas also trading down on the back of this earnings report. All right, 13. Good stuff here today. That's going to do it for us here today, but we're going to turn it over to Story Trading here in a little bit. You got any closing words for the group?
Well, brace yourselves and buckle in for the
brace yourselves is right,
because we, depending on how that goes, and if everything that we've been talking about here plays out, then we know exactly what's going to happen. Otherwise, if there's any monkey wrench thrown into that, then we're going to get some more volatility. So make sure you guys are protecting yourselves, not getting into anything that's going to get you your account skills. We do want you to come back and trade with us again.
No
question. Until then, take care, folks. Enjoy the break decision. I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.
All right, sounds good. And just as a reminder here, if you want to trade along with 13 all day, you got to get Benzinga Pro. He moderates the happy hour chat room and has stock discussions very much like we have here on the show all day, every day inside of Benzinga Pro. You guys, with all the nice comments here, we couldn't do it without you. And on this stream, the viewers are a huge part of that. So be sure to pat yourself on the back. But with that aside, let's bring on the Story Trading guys and ask them what they think is going to happen. We'll bring on Ben and Rhett. We'll bring on Godfather there. Couldn't see him there. So I'm just going to start with this. What do you guys think is going to happen with the Fed today?
I'll get to that, but wait. First, you were just speaking about Benzinga Pro. I use it all day, every day, and I love it. And we have a code for 55% off the annual plan. I think it is. It's Story Trading 55. So you join Story Trading 55, and then you can see where I get all my news from all the time. Like, where's Ben getting this stuff and dumping in the Discord from? Like, Benzinga Pro, that's where. So
Ben, that is a pro name drop right there, buddy. Pat on the back of that code in the chat there. Thank you very much.
And then the other thing before we get into FOMC, where are you based at, Orion?
Me personally, or the company?
No, the company's like Chicago, right?
The company is based out of Detroit, Michigan. I am in a suburb of Chicago.
Oh, you're in the suburb of Chicago. All right, all right. Because we're getting a get together. Godfather, you got to fly in from Canada. But Rhett's, I'm meeting Rhett Saturday night in New York City, and I invited the whole Discord. So we're good. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a couple dozen people will show up. It's going to be a lot of fun Saturday night in Midtown Manhattan.
Hey, that should be fun. Be sure to take pictures for that. I'll say this, Ben. I'm a huge fan of meeting the community that we spend all this time with on a daily basis. I love that you guys are doing that. I hope that you guys have a great time. Definitely keep me posted if you make any trip towards the Chicago area. I'd love to come out and meet you guys.
Sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. So MC, Godfather, why don't you go first? You have some thoughts on this. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll put up Ben's charts here and get out of your hair, but I'm going to listen in. Don't worry.
All right, take care.
I have a very strong view that not only is this rate cut completely priced in with the 10%, almost 11% move in IWM post this sort of November 20th pivot date when we heard Williams come out and say, near term, there's room for lower rates. So I expect that we will see a hawkish cut expressed in several ways through the dot plots. I heard a commentator on Bloomberg this morning talking about up to about 5 weak descents expressed through the dots. I'm not sure about that, but nonetheless, the bar, I think, will be expressed to be higher for further rate cuts. You can see that reflected in the CME Fed Fund tool, which isn't expecting additional rate cuts post this meeting until at least sort of May or even June. Now, there's a question about Powell. Technically, he's on until May. However, he can exercise his own right to step down from the committee as early as January. It remains to be seen whether he'll do that or not. I suspect he will stay on as a voting member, even if he's not chairman. So, look, the other thing is you have to look at what rates have done. The 10-year yield is flat to up since this 10% plus move in IWM. Last year at this time, we saw a 25 basis point cut and the 10-year jumped 40 basis points. And then we saw IWM sell off 8.5% in the month of December. We could see something similar to that. It's just like a stock. Do you want to buy it at a 52-week high going into earnings? The setup matters. That said, I do expect this to be relatively short-lived. In a perfect world, it would play out as follows. Weakness follows a sort of sell the news event on the Fed, being a relatively hawkish meeting despite this cut. And investors growing impatient about when the next cut might be, and then we weaken right into and in combination with the seasonal effects to Christmas Eve and
Rally
a
in
great
January.
time to buy all of our favorite names that are going to benefit.
So how
in the 2026 beginning of the year, because we got all the one beautiful bill, big beautiful bill stimulus, right? All the tax cuts. You got all these levers that Trump will pull, whether Hassett's at the Fed or not. They're going to offset anything monetary in terms of hawkishness with fiscal stimulus, and they're going to do that whether it's checks to everybody from tariffs or getting the new Fed to take mortgage-backed securities onto their balance sheet and lower funding costs for mortgages across the board, whatever. So short-term tactical short going into this meeting, and then uber bullish going into 2026.
Well, I always love to hear uber bullish, and I mostly agree with that. But in terms of looking at this chart, right, IWM's come a long way, and you're saying it could be priced in or sell the news. What kind of potential move to the downside are you thinking in terms of length? Is this hours, days? And in terms of the magnitude of the pullback, like you think we can pull all the way back to the 50 DMA? So what's your thinking in terms of that?
The 50 obviously would cause a lot of consternation in this market. I'm not sure that we're going to get that kind of pull on the Qs and the SPY, and if we did, I would be a two hands full buyer. It all depends on exactly how hawkish Powell's comments are in the presser, and gauge it by the price action. But look,
the SPY actually looks the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
SPY 3 red down days in a row. It looks like it wants to kind of point towards that 20 DMA.
This is a real short-term tactical
Okay.
only trade, and I expect to be closed out of most of this by the end of today, depending on the price action. I might keep some runners, and we could weaken. Remember that the Santa Claus rally and the January effect stuff, as you pointed out numerous times, Ben, really doesn't come into play until closer into the third week of January.
Are you worried? Look, I'm very bullish on small caps risk assets, especially for the January effect this year. It should be a great January effect this year because of all the big profits in other parts of the market. But are you at all worried about a tax deferral selling in the first week of January that could, I don't know, really bring QQQ and SOXL down and maybe even have an impact on the risk assets as well? Is that a concern for you?
Not really.
Really? Wow.
No, I think you're going to see increasingly bullish policy action as we go forward into the year.
I think people are going to hold on. They're not like deferring selling because they don't want to pay taxes right now. You don't think that's part of people's calculations?
Yeah, I do think it's part of people's calculations, but I don't think it's enough to change the overall direction of this market.
Interesting. It would be great if we can pull up some data to see how much we're up this year. I don't know if we can pull up some data in terms of in a year when the market is up 20%, or are we up 20%? 15, 20%, something like that on QQQ SPY. I'm curious how the price action is on January 2nd on those days, or the first week of January. That would be a nice little research to do.
I think the one last thought on all this I wanted to mention is that, look, it's the bond market that controls the cost of risk, right? And confidence plays a big part in this. And, if Trump appoints Hassett and people are concerned about his ability to control inflation long term or manage fiscal stability, then the bond market is going to vote with their money, and you're going to see rates rise on the long end. They can control rates on the short end, but not on the long end. And we're seeing the end of rate cutting cycles around the globe. Canada stopped or paused today. Australia has already risen. There's some talk about the EU rising. Japan, as we know, is rising in terms of its rates. So you have to be aware of how this impacts U.S. equity markets. And, the bond market is the tail that wags the equity market dog.
One other thing to consider is Bitcoin. And Rhett, definitely like your thoughts on the Bitcoin chart here. But what I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, Godfather, I've been pointing it out, and I think it's an accurate observation, that this 20 DMA on Bitcoin has been really important in terms of breadth of risk asset underneath the IWM and growth stocks. It's crazy. I just noticed, like, when we broke above the 20 DMA, like really good breadth with risk assets, like every shitco you can think of, growth company, small cap, whatever, started exploding. And then we had a little scare last Friday when we went below the 20 DMA, and it was like, the sky was falling. All of a sudden, everything was selling off and the breadth got really poor. So I think there might be some algos linked to this. It's really fascinating. Bitcoin has been a really nice barometer of risk. Let me go to first, Rhett. I know you're a Bitcoin guy. What do you think of Bitcoin in the chart here?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a little resistance coming up around 94, a little over, like a little below 95,000. And I think if we see anything to the downside here that changes the direction of the overall markets, I think we could see this thing head down to the around the 77,000 area.
Oh, I mean, that'll be bad, because based on what I said, then people will be selling off the risk assets when you go below the 20 DMA. Godfather, have you noticed the same thing happening here?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen more downside in Bitcoin. I certainly wouldn't want to be long going into this, because if what I think is going to play out and we get some backup in the 10-year, you're going to see it in commodities. You're going to see it, anything that's inversely correlated to rates. So you're going to see it in this risk asset. You're going to see it in the housing stocks. You're certainly going to see it in the mortgage names.
But you're thinking that'll only be.
But again, I believe it'll be short term.
Term.
Yeah.
Like short term. I know you said you want to be out of the trade today, but like short term, like, do you think we can be down for days, or are you just thinking it's just like today and tomorrow?
We could very much be down for a week or so. I think the seasonal effects will take over. But look, it's the other important thing to remember is that restrictive monetary policy hasn't held the market back, right? We just started this new rate cutting cycle, and if you look at the last 3 years, the S&P is up 73%. So by the same token,
big caps, but it really has. It did. I mean, only recently did IWM and growth stocks and like RK, and I think it's IWO is an index for. Only recently did they start catching up. I mean, they were really hurt by higher rates, but the big caps were not, because they have the strong balance sheets.
Right. But remember, you always got to remember that it's not the short-term rates that really matter for the market. The benchmark rate for borrowing costs for households, businesses, and government is the 10-year rate. And as long as that is staying firm or going higher, it's going to be a challenge for small cap equities.
Okay, let's get into some stocks. I just have to cover. I mean, there's specific stocks that I've been in I want to talk about, but I got to cover the big news on that's really driving the sector move in space. Let me put it on my space list. So it's the SpaceX, right? So reports that SpaceX trying to IPO this year at a $1.5 trillion valuation, and it's lit a fire underneath the whole space sector. And this is following. It was first Elon Musk that was talking about space-based AI data centers, and then 2 days after that, or it was 2 days ago, it was the Google CEO who was talking about space AI data centers and beaming the energy from the sun and all that.
High-profile managers like Gavin Baker, well-respected.
Oh, they were also talking about that?
Yep.
Yeah, and then, so I'm also hearing this 1.5 trillion valuation for SpaceX is going to be dependent on that story and that future business as well about space-based AI data centers. So
6 years out story, but
right, but it drives the sentiment today, right? So now people looking at this. So look at the space list that I have. We got Fly, Rocket Lab. What a great call I had yesterday on that with a 54 target. ASTS, which we love, one of my biggest long-term positions, doing well on this news. Even lower quality companies, as you pointed out, Godfather, doing great on this, up 22%.
We'll close in on DXYZ that holds just a small.
And DXYZ hold. Thank God.
Holding a 12% move.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the have you looked at what the fair value or the actual NAV of DXYZ is? Is this something you looked
I
into
have from
recently?
time to time. I haven't looked at it recently.
I haven't looked at it recently either.
But their position in SpaceX was if I recall correctly, something like 20% or less. But they had other positions in like XAI and some other interesting things.
Right. So, I mean, it made sense that it went up. It's probably overvalued. Who knows? But I actually have personal private SpaceX shares, so I'm not chasing that.
Most assuredly, it's overvalued. But again,
yeah,
you're not
most
buying
likely.
this on fundamentals.
But it's overvalued, but for a reason. It's a scarcity value, and most people cannot get private shares of SpaceX. Is the only way they get almost indirect exposure. So that's why it gets a premium. But in any case, yeah, this whole sector is exploding, and you know, you all know that Rhett and I have been all over ASTS. Actually, Godfather, you may have been the one who turned me on to ASTS a couple years ago after some earnings report. It was around $20. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I first got involved at 13.5.
Right, and I never left it. I don't know. I think you were in and out, but like once you sold me on the story, it's been like one of my largest positions ever since. Beautiful. So that's moving on space. Also, I do want to point out two stocks here, Fly and Redwire. So we've been preparing for that January effect. I don't have time to dig into it too much, but basically it has to do with opportunities created because of tax loss selling. There's a lot of other factors as well, which cause small caps to overperform in end of December to in the first half of January. And I had flagged in our first meeting, collaborative meeting on Zoom this past Sunday night, I'd flagged Redwire and Fly as two picks, possible picks for the January effect. And Redwire started taking, clearly there's been tax loss selling here holding it down. And because of all the catalysts here in space, the space sector, Redwire started taking off before the January effect kicks in. Fly, another one. So actually, I really like Fly here. I'm thinking I was going to wait till the end of December to get in Fly, but I got in today because very similar chart to Redwire, same tailwinds, same, also has a relatively low valuation. Tax loss selling is also assuredly impacting Fly. But if Redwire can go off the 20 and head to the 50, maybe Fly can bounce off the 20 and head into the 50. And there's been some interesting options activity on Fly this week on the $20 weekly call. So Fly is a position that I was going to wait, but I ended up getting in common shares today. I've been looking at the options, but I haven't pulled the trigger on any options on Fly. All right, that's one stock I wanted to mention. I'm just going to fly through just a couple of my favorite stocks I've been killing it on, and then I'll turn it over to Rhett and Godfather on their picks. But I got to mention Kodak. I imagine I mentioned it on the show last week, but after a little bit of a loss today, I mean, this is it's nearing my top realized and unrealized gains for the year. ASTS has been number one. So Kodak, after just a strong couple of weeks, making more money on this than anything else this year. I don't have time to go through this whole thing. Let me just say this. There has been a number of catalysts, inflection point catalyst after catalyst after catalyst, fundamental catalyst, inflection catalyst, sentiment inflection catalyst. I mean, the list goes on. And that keeps driving this price action. I'll just say the most recent catalyst is Friday afternoon. There was a backdoor insider buy that you're not going to find in the news feeds. It's very hidden news, but it's very massive news. A director that sits on the board of Kodak is part of a fund called Kennedy Lewis. They effectively bought $100 million worth of Kodak at $10.65. Okay, the stock's at $9.25. You're about $100 million insider buy at $10.65. Now, you're not going to see that in any of the news feeds because this is what done through preferred shares, which are going to convert to common shares at that price over the next few months. Ryan, what's up?
May I interject here? You will absolutely find that in our newsfeed. I'll go ahead and share it right here.
See it. Hold on.
Here you go.
What's it say?
Here you go. This is the purchase here. This is Friday, December 5th. I got the date right, correct?
Yeah.
And you said that this was the Kennedy Lewis management?
Yeah. So, okay. The SEC filing is there, but there's no Benzinga AI blurb on it. And this deserves one. By the way, I tagged Benzinga on X. I'm like, you guys have to write a story on this. I mean, this is a massive insider buy. Now, the algos don't pick it up. And in Benzinga, no one else really picked it up that it's a preferred share purchase, but it's an insider buy because I don't want to get into the mechanics of it, but I mean, they're going to convert that to common shares. Then they spent $101.5 million to convert that to 9.5 million common shares, and that's an average of $10.65 a share. So it's kind of hidden news, and the algos didn't pick it up. But Benzinga's got to get up on top of that and write a
Well, I
little
mean,
story about it.
the point remains, it is absolutely in the news feed, and you get that in real time.
No, I get it, but
Okay,
it's
there was no story written about it. There was no
story,
ancillary. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. There, I'm not sure how many people follow Kodak, but I just want to reiterate, these things are in the news feed, and if you know what to look for,
Sorry,
you'll
I
find
wasn't
them.
trying to knock you.
No. I know. I'm trying to raise the tide. I'm trying to raise the tide.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. All right, that's Kodak. I'm going to quickly mention Bull. Bull moving a little bit earlier than I wanted it to be honest. After an inflection ER, I was hoping this could kind of stay down. I have a big position, but I was planning on picking up like, huge call options at the end of December for the January effect, moving a little bit ahead of time. At this point, I think no matter what happens with FOMC, I mean, it's assuredly you're going to hit $10.50 at the 50 DMA. It's just a matter of exactly when, and I imagine it'll probably be this week or early next week at the latest on that. So I'll stop there. I've taken a lot of time. All right. Rhett, just quick comments or feedback on those stocks I mentioned, and then we'll get it.
None of those. Actually, I want to bring something up that I think the
go ahead.
Godfather I want to comment on here is going to be AIP. This has been a huge year for our community recently. So I'd love his take on that, because I think our average was in the 13s and 14s.
Yeah.
We're adding this, so now we're
look at that chart. Look at that check mark. Holy crap.
Yeah. So look, this was making new highs at sort of 14, 15, and it was in my trade account and was prominent there. And then we had this weakness that came around. The reporting of the Nvidia quarter, and this thing got all the way down to I think 12 or something. And then
you
now
stuck with it, and you bought more, didn't you? On that dip?
57 or 60% off of those lows to making new highs after new highs after new highs for like 4 or 5 days in a row here.
And Godfather, I recall that in that Nvidia induced dip, you bought more, right?
Yes,
that's incredible. Look,
but these are long-term shares. Like I had positions in my trading account.
Yeah.
And I closed them on that weakness and actually lost money on those.
Me too.
So that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
I know. I know. We were both expecting a big rapid re-rating, and it just happened 2 weeks later than we thought it would.
Yeah, exactly. So the time to lift in the trading account. But just briefly on that story, this is a play on TPUs. It's a play on any kind of AI semi hardware that doesn't actually exist within the NVIDIA ecosystem, for example. So any of these companies that are putting their own chips together for edge AI or what have you, these guys provide the IP, for key components of that, not just for chip design as a whole, but communications fabric, all of those kinds of things. So it's a pure margin business because it's essentially licensing and then a follow-on royalty business. These things typically get to really high multiples. You don't have to look much further than ARM to see that. And so I'm sure, I haven't looked at ARM recently, but I'm sure ARM is up on all this as people start looking at the fact that there's a lot more silicon that's being put to
ARM is not actually. Maybe that's an opportunity. We'll have to look into that.
So look, it's not a cheaply valued stock, not at these levels, but the real kick comes when the royalties come, and that lags license, and you can actually see that you're about to get that kick from royalty. So I think that's what the market is starting to price in. Their biggest licensee is AMD.
Could be some tax loss selling impacting ARM. That might be an opportunity coming up.
Could be. So that's been a great winner. I just wish I still had it in my trading account.
Yeah, I know.
You commented on Bull. I'll just say from a fundamental standpoint, because technically we're starting to see some nice action here with the breakthrough through 10 and that moving average that you can see on your chart right there. But look, this thing is still trading at under 6 times enterprise value to sales. And even Sleepy Schwab is trading at around 6.8 or 7. So just to get to Schwab's multiple, this thing deserves to be over $11. I think.
And they're growing much faster than Schwab, aren't they?
Way faster than Schwab. Much better on all of those metrics, as well as the entire product suite, which encompasses everything from prediction markets to crypto. And then, of course, adding all the features, legacy features, including fixed income and
Can I ask you something here? Sorry, I got to interrupt because we have limited time. Is there any precedence for a Chinese company being put like in a can this somehow through a transaction become a U.S. company that China or the Chinese ownership, they own shares of it, but it's a U.S. company instead of China? Because this is the only number one knock I hear about this. It's the only negative thing. And people, especially people like Robinhood, they're really, really averse to bull because of that. They're like, oh, Robinhood's a U.S. company. Bull's China. You can't trust them. And there's so much value here that can be unlocked, like for Chinese shareholders or whatever. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think the market's going to care less and less about the intricacies of the exact incorporation or ownership. Their business is global, and the platform in the U.S., which was previously constrained by the previous administration's aversion to crypto, et cetera, is growing. So yeah, you're seeing growth in all the markets, EMA, APAC, Europe. So no, I think it becomes less of an issue, and I think the discount is already there. I don't think it gets further discounted from here. Look, just to finish up my thought, just to trade at the peer average, this thing should be $15. If you put Hood's multiple on this, it's a $30 stock. So it's just far too out of whack on a valuation basis. And what we say when we get to technicals and fundamentals that align along with sentiment. And a catalyst.
This is a perfect storm. This is a perfect. This and Kodak have been like two perfect setups for how I trade with the 4 pillars: sentiment, catalyst, fundamentals, and technicals. Like perfect storm, and that was the only thing I could possibly find anywhere in terms of maybe the sentiment less than perfect is it's a Chinese company. So otherwise, it's like a perfect.
And when you try to buy on Robinhood, like your fills suck.
Yeah,
like they are horrible. Like Webull, like the best one's probably going to be Fidelity for fills, but in terms of like actively day trading, Webull has the superior product over anyone. So
by far. I mean, and it's on purpose. I mean, Robinhood, they purposely make it really simple because they have a different strategy. They're trying to get the beginner trader in the mass market, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, active trading is becoming more and more popular, and anyone who knows anything about charts or anything, if you're just a little bit sophisticated beyond the beginner, and then you look at Webull, you're like, this blows away the Robinhood by like a factor of 10x in terms of the product, and you're going to be switching to Webull, and you're not going to leave it. That's my opinion. I think a lot of other people share
and
that
then
opinion.
We have a comment here. Going into 2026, Godfather, what is your favorite stock?
Single favorite stock?
Are we going to give that away now? I mean, okay.
Why don't we keep that for the Discord?
All right.
You know what? We will maybe actually do that. We're in the middle of the January Effect collaboration now. Maybe as a separate exercise, we'll come up with like a top 5 stocks we think can do well long term in 2026. That'll be a fun thing. I do that for the Wolf Financial Spaces competition. I hopefully I'm still winning that competition with my 2 picks, which was ASTS and Root, although Root gave back a lot. So maybe we'll do that for our Discord community as well. Look at IWM just exploding. Unfortunately, these puts are not doing well right now. The little hedge we got for FOMC. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
We got like 2 minutes left. Can I just talk about one key theme? So look, most people probably saw the revaluation recently in Path. We're seeing a similar story in BRZE, a company's called Braze today, and it's this. Look, software in general has
just had earnings
in the last couple of years because of this existential threat of AI taking over a lot of these legacy software, platform functionalities. If you are a software company and you can show that you are like a conductor or a coordinator or orchestrator of things like agentic AI agents, and you can add AI features to your existing software modules, then I think the market's going to come around and revalue that. And that's exactly what's happened with the Path story, them adding AI intelligence to their RPA product, which is repeatable process automation, software robots for repeatable tasks. And we saw a similar thing with this quarter out of Braze. This is a customer engagement, an AI-driven omnichannel customer engagement platform. So this is the platform that sends you an email when you've left something in your cart in Amazon and says, did you mean to finish this sale? And oh, by the way, here's 5 other things that you should think about similar to what's in your cart, that kind of thing. And it's about, you can't just do the unsophisticated batch and blast email strategies of the past. There's all sorts of regulation around that. It's about in customer engagement, and that's what these guys do. So it's getting deeper into the funnel to convert customers. They inflected to operating cash flow and free cash flow positive this quarter, and then their guidance announced a further doubling of those rates. So this was a triple beat. It was top line, bottom line, and guidance. Customer acquisition metrics, profitability.
So can I ask you something here? Because I missed the boat on. I mean, I was in Path, but I sold like right after the ER because the guidance didn't look like a big beat. I'm seeing the same thing here, so I'm missing some. I missed something there and missing something here. Because I see
what you're missing is that.
Hold on, let me just read the numbers real quick.
These things are trading at historically.
Wait, Godfather, one second. I just want to read the numbers. So what I saw was EPS outlook for 2026, 42.5 cents at the midpoint versus 41-cent estimate, and sales for 2026, 731 at the midpoint versus 717 million estimate. So it was kind of similar numbers with Path. It wasn't like blowout versus the estimates. So yes, what am I missing? Why is the market reacting more than the magnitude of it?
What you're missing is that, this is 27, going to 30% EBITDA margin, company 67%, gross margin. It's a software, it's a SaaS business, right? They've got 108% ARR. These are businesses that should trade at double-digit multiples on an EV to sales, for example, and this thing's trading at 4 on next year.
Why do you say that? Why should it trade at? Why should it trade?
That's where software companies like this have historically traded. If you look at the historical valuation of Braze and some of the others, that's where they have traded. And all of these names, as a result of AI, look at what's happened to Adobe. Look at what's happened to Duolingo. Some of these are justified, some of them are not. But it was a wholesale. A lot of these software companies thrown out, baby out with the bathwater type thing. Similar situation. This is why C1.
I mean, you're talking about an 80
PE, for example, because it's just ridiculously undervalued relative to the metrics in the business.
But you're talking about like an 80 PE, like. So what if the rest of them are not overvalued?
Yeah, but we're talking about 14 to 15 times EV to EBITDA. We're talking about
in what year? 2027, 2026?
That's 2027.
2027. Yeah. So maybe I'm just not looking out far enough and understanding the premiums that are in this space. Okay.
I think the premiums are just going to get bigger in this space as well, just due to the fact that the technology and where it's heading. Like, I mean, I'm seeing it with like Amazon, like the Godfather said, it's unbelievable. Like I ordered a few computer parts and it was like, oh, the 5 other parts you need and all this other stuff. And I bought this stuff and I didn't realize I needed it. So that market's only going to get bigger, in my opinion, because they're really knowing how to market now. And it's just going to get even better.
Oh my God, look at Rocket Lab fly. Oh gosh. All right.
Braze has the most advanced customer engagement tools in that space.
Real quick, I just want to say the discussion that you two were just having, I wanted you to finish that off and go a little bit longer there. I found that extremely valuable. I love hearing back and forths like that. So good stuff as always here, folks.
We need an hour, Ryan. We need an hour.
You could probably use a couple, I would imagine. Ben, props to you on the pulling back when Godfather was about to drop his favorite stock for 2026. That's a pro move right there, pulling that back and making sure that doesn't get out to the internet. So real good stuff there. All right, guys. All right. Have a good one. All right.
Take care.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Yep. Take care. Have a good one.
All right, that is Rhett, Godfather, and Ben for Story Trading. Folks, we're done here today. We'll be back at this again tomorrow. Good luck with the Fed. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.